Chapter 720. In the government office, the county magistrate was waiting for the families who didn't send anyone over. He also had a headache. These people wanted to bribe him, but the regent was here. He didn't dare to accept it. Seeing that he couldn't accept the money, the county magistrate's heart ached. But when he saw Shi Shang, his heart didn't ache anymore. His entire body ached. This woman was his worst nightmare. Miss Ruan. The county magistrate quickly stood up from his chair and kicked the person beside him. Quickly get a chair for Miss Ruan. Ding Xiang and Father Ding arrived at the same time. Seeing the county magistrate like this, they felt it was strange. Why was he trying to please Ruan Xiaoyang? Shi Shang sat at ease. The county magistrate didn't dare to provoke Shi Shang. He turned to look at Father Ding and Ding Xiang. Old Master Ding, Miss Ding. Father Ding bowed. Sir. Greetings to Sir. Ding Xiang had just cried, so her voice was hoarse. But it wasn't unpleasant. Instead, it was a little seductive. Father Ding wanted to speak, but the county magistrate waved his hand and said awkwardly, Old Master Ding, I can't make the decision. He glanced in another direction. Miss Ding's age and appearance meet the selection requirements. Old Master Ding, don't be reluctant. Once you enter the palace, you will be able to enjoy glory and wealth, and bring glory to your ancestors. Father. Ding Xiang tugged at Father Ding's sleeve. She didn't want to enter the palace. She wanted to be with He Ting. Father Ding walked towards the county magistrate and used his sleeve to block his view. He stuffed something into the county magistrate's hand. Sir, I only have one daughter. If you help me think of a way, I will definitely thank you. The county magistrate pinched the stack of banknotes that Father Ding stuffed into his hand. His mouth twitched in pain. After a while, he pushed it back. Old Master Ding, it's not that I don't want to help you this time. I really have no choice. If I help you, I'm afraid I won't be able to keep my official position. The county magistrate quickly asked someone to record it. Father Ding sighed and shook his head. If it was someone else, he could still give them money. But this time, it was the regent. How would he dare to give the regent money? Miss Ruan. After the county magistrate dealt with Ding Xiang, he forced a smile. Look, if there's no problem, I'll record it. There's a problem. Shi Shang looked up at the county magistrate. The county magistrate's legs were weak. He supported himself on the table next to him to stand firm. Miss Ruan, what's the problem? I won't enter the palace. This official can't make the decision. If he could make the decision, his hands would have cramped up from counting the money. When he woke up this morning, his eyelids kept twitching. He knew that something was going to happen. This Ruan Xiaoyang was not easy to deal with. The county magistrate secretly waved his hand at the person beside him. He meant to ask someone to get the regent. If he couldn't handle someone, he would ask the regent to help. The county magistrate didn't show it on his face. He persuaded the Shi Shang to stall for time. Miss Ruan, it's actually quite good to enter the palace. Many girls want to enter the palace but can't. Look at those girls outside. You have such a good opportunity. You must cherish it. Enter the palace to wait for death? Shi Shang raised his eyebrows. What kind of place is the palace? If you enter without any background, you won't even know if you're killed. Ding Xiang, who hadn't left yet, turned pale when she heard Shi Shang's words. She clutched her father's hand tightly. The magistrate was sweating profusely. You can't say that. Then what should I say? The county magistrate was speechless. How would he know what to say? Why wasn't the regent here yet? Dugu Xiu was late. The county magistrate acted as if he had found his backbone and ran over quickly. Your Highness. The latter nodded slightly and looked at Shi Shang, who was still sitting on the chair without any movement. Ding Xiang's father and Ding Xiang knelt down to greet Dugu Xiu. How dare you, wicked woman? Why don't you kneel when you see the regent? Dugu Xiu's confidant shouted at Shi Shang. Is he worthy? Shi Shang glanced at the confidant with an arrogant and disdainful expression. How dare you? Shi Shang raised his head slightly. There seemed to be a smile on his face, but it also seemed like there was nothing. So what if I'm impudent? The county magistrate stood beside Du Guxiu. He was sweating profusely and was terrified. She even dared to talk back to the regent. Did this Ruan Xiaoyang want to die? The confidant shouted angrily, "You wicked woman!" He took a few steps towards Shi Shang and reached out to grab Shi Shang's hair. How could Qiu Shui stand by and watch? She went forward to block Shi Shang. The confidant grabbed Qiu Shui's hair. Her neatly combed hair fell apart instantly. The confidant pulled her hair and threw her to the side. Ah! Qiu Shui was in pain. She used both hands to protect her hair, but the confidant was very strong. Qiu Shui's scalp tensed up. Shi Shang kicked the confidant almost at the same time. The place where he kicked was as sharp as usual. Ah! The confidant's scream was much louder than Qiu Shui's. He let go of his hands and covered his crotch. His body was slightly bent and his face was full of pain. Shi Shang helped Qiu Shui up. Are you okay? Qiu Shui's hair was loose and her eyes were slightly red. She shook her head slightly. I'm fine. Shi Shang looked at Qiu Shui's scalp. Some of her hair had been pulled off. When he reached out his hand, it was all hair. Shi Shang's face darkened. He gently tidied up her hair. In the next second, he pulled out his sword without any warning. Everyone only saw the flash of the sword. The confidant who was still wailing just now had his eyes wide open and slowly fell to the ground. Fresh blood seeped out of his body and slowly flowed on the ground. Ah! Murder! Ding Xiang was so frightened that she hid in Father Ding's arms. Du Guxiu was enraged. Ruan Xiaoyang, do you still have me in your eyes? No. Shi Shang had an honest face. You're not good-looking. Why should I have you in my eyes? You exist deep in the female lead's mind. How can a great Buddha like me tolerate a retard like you? Miss. Qiu Shui's face was pale. She pulled Shi Shang's sleeve slightly. How could Miss kill someone in front of the regent? It's over. It's over. Something bad is going to happen. It's all her fault. If it weren't for her, Miss wouldn't have done it. She didn't know if she could take the blame for Miss later. Ruan Xiaoyang has no respect for the law. She beat him to death, Du Guxiu said in a low voice. Shi Shang glanced at Du Guxiu. His gaze was too sarcastic. Du Guxiu had a bad feeling. However, his dignity was challenged. Du Guxiu didn't withdraw his order. In the end, Du Guxiu's confidant was beaten up by Shi Shang. After such a long time, Shi Shang had some spiritual energy in his body. Although he couldn't fight with his bare hands, with the help of the iron sword, it wasn't a problem for him to kill a van of people. Du Guxiu, don't you dare have any ideas about I. Shi Shang pointed the iron sword at Du Guxiu. Do you think you're so great just because you're the regent? I want the world to have whatever surname I want it to have. Du Guxiu's face was ashen. He glared at Shi Shang viciously. This woman wasn't arrogant. She was arrogant and conceited. There were so many capable people in history. None of them dared to say that they could have whatever surname they wanted the world to have. Who gave her such confidence? #hashtag today's leak-flavored vote # December 22nd, 2016. Winning prize in book review area. Dieting. It's the end of the month again. Begging for votes. Begging for votes. Send me to the rankings. Chapter 721. Shi Shang left with the dumbfounded Qiu Shui. The people who wanted to stop Shi Shang scattered when she was about to swing her sword. If this cold sword were to land on their bodies, would they still be able to survive? Miss. Qiu Shui followed behind Shi Shang. Will anything happen if we offend the Prince Regent? Of course. If they offended the male lead, would they still have a good life? What should we do? Qiu Shui was anxious. Let's leave Baihe County quickly and hide outside. Shi Shang said calmly, There are Du Guxiu's people outside. Where can you hide? The number of people she offended could circle the universe. What was there to be afraid of when it came to Du Guxiu? At most, she would die. Host, your way of thinking is really dangerous. My host always treats the mission as a game. If she dies, she can rewind and start over. Waiting online. Urgent. Qiu Shui was so anxious that she didn't know where to put her hands and feet. Her heart was in a mess. When they returned to the Ruan residence, Shi Shang asked Qiu Shui to rest. Qiu Shui was not in the mood to rest. She walked around Shi Shang and gave Shi Shang all kinds of ideas. They had heard about the Prince Regent in such a remote Baihe county. Today, Miss killed someone in front of the Prince Regent and was so disrespectful. Would the Ruan residents survive? Miss, why are you still so calm? Think of something. Shi Shang had a headache. What could he do? He had offended her. Why don't you go back to the village? Qiu Shui glared. What about you? What was the use of her going back to the village? I have to rebel. Didn't Du Gai want to be the emperor? She would not let him be the emperor. Anyway, if you don't let I have a good life, I won't let you have a good life either. Going through hardships together was the truth. When Du Gai entered, he happened to hear this sentence. He staggered and almost bumped into the vase by the door. Du Gai held the vase. Miss Ruan, how dare you say this? Qiu Shui was shocked. She turned around and said in a panic, Master Du, how can you barge into Miss' room? Du Gui was innocent. He didn't want to break in. He was scared by Shi Shang's words. Ahem. Du Gui coughed dryly, let go of the vase, turned around, and knocked on the door. Shi Shang. This idiot. Autumn Water wanted to stop Du Gui, but Du Gui had already walked in. He approached the Shi Shang in a few steps and asked curiously, Miss Ruan, I heard that you dealt with Du Guxiu's men at the Yamen today? You're quite well informed. Shi Shang looked at him faintly. Du Gui didn't refute anything. This time, you've really offended Du Guxiu. Oh. What's with your reaction? Du Gui didn't understand. Aren't you afraid that Du Guxiu will deal with the Ruan clan? You can escape alone, but can your Ruan clan escape with so many people? Why are you running? Why aren't you running? That was Du Guxiu, Prince Regent. The Prince Regent who could make a river of blood flow if he frowned. Shi Shang yawned. The winner takes all. If I'm killed by Du Guxiu, then it's because I'm not as good as him. I have nothing to say. Du Gui's mouth twitched. You're quite optimistic. Shi Shang suddenly smiled confidently. Because I know that I can't be killed by an idiot. Du Gui, if the Prince Regent was an idiot, then what were they? I'm very curious. Where did you get your confidence from? Du Gui squeezed out a sentence after a long while. Shi Shang looked at Du Gui and opened his mouth slightly. I was born with it. Ahem. Du Gui choked on his saliva. He turned to ask Qiu Shui, how did your miss survive until now without being beaten to death? Qiu Shui. Miss wasn't like this in the past. Ever since she came back that time, she became strange. She always thought that Miss was agitated, but now, Miss wasn't agitated at all. She was simply crazy. It's not that I want to nag at you, Ruan Xiaoyang, but do you really want to rebel? Du Gui returned to the original topic. Du Gui was probably the only prince who was so interested in rebellion. Du Gui was probably the only one who was so retarded. I don't want to. Du Gui glared at him. You said it just now. You heard wrong. Shi Shang looked serious. Du Gui looked at Qiu Shui and asked silently, did I hear wrong? His ears were quite good. How could he have heard wrongly? Qiu Shui didn't dare to nod or shake her head. She simply lowered her head and didn't speak. Du Gui didn't believe it. He definitely didn't hear wrongly. Then what did you say just now? Shi Shang looked righteous. Get rid of treacherous officials and uphold justice. Host, don't you feel embarrassed when you say this? You actually dare to say the words uphold justice. This system wants to slap a bunch of gibberish on your face. Do you know how to write the words uphold justice? Dugu suspected that he had heard wrongly. Miss Ruan, say it again. Shi Shang rolled his eyes. Idiot. Dugu felt an internal injury. No, he couldn't talk to this woman anymore. Sooner or later, he would get a heart attack. Dugu Xiu's actions were very fast. All of the Ruan family shops in Baihe County were forcefully closed down at the same time. The reason for the closure was directly given by Dugu Xiu. All of Baihe County's citizens were shocked. What did the Ruan family do? Most of the people in the Ruan family shops were arrested and locked in the county's prison. The Ruan residence was also tightly surrounded by Dugu Xiu's army. The entire Ruan residence was in a mess. Shi Shang, the main character, leisurely walked from the backyard to the front gate. The panicking servants calmed down when they saw Shi Shang's leisurely appearance. Miss will definitely have a way. Yes, yes. Miss is so powerful. We have to believe in her. Believe in Mississippi. The servants cheered each other on. Shi Shang's calm gaze swept across them. The corners of his lips curled up. Do what you need to do. The group of people looked at each other and saluted at the same time. Yes, Mississippi. Shi Shang walked slowly to the gate. The servants guarding the gate were so panicked that they were trembling. They were afraid that the group of people outside would barge in. When Shi Shang appeared, the servants heaved a sigh of relief. Mississippi, open the gate. This. The servant hesitated. The soldiers outside were all armed. Shi Shang looked at him. The servant immediately lowered his head. Yes. The two of them worked together to open the gate. The scene outside the gate slowly expanded through the gap until it was completely presented to Shi Shang's vision. The armored soldiers surrounded the Ruan residence so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. In the distance, the commoners who were watching were pointing at the Ruan residence. When the gate of the Ruan residence opened, everyone's attention was immediately focused on the gate. A dark blue figure gradually appeared in everyone's line of sight. The beautiful young girl had her arms crossed in front of her chest. When the gate opened, the wind blew up her skirt. The jade bracelet on her waist swayed. She calmly looked outside. It was as if she wasn't facing an army that was here to seize her house. Chapter 722. Ever since Su Yu got together with Dugu Xiu ordered her to live in the county office. Dugu Xiu even handed over the closed shops to Su Yu to manage. The citizens of White River County were more or less dissatisfied with the way they were abusing their authority for personal gain, especially the merchants who were eyeing these shops. If the Ruan family was unlucky, these shops would be confiscated. However, the government office could not manage these shops, so they could only sell them back to the merchants. They could not keep an eye on them when they were taking advantage of the situation. Now that the little girl from the Ruan family was fine, the regent gave the shops to Su Yu. How could these people not have any objections? However, Su Yu was the regent's favorite. They could only call her a vixen behind her back. At the Ruan residence, Qiu Shui was the first to hear the news. She rushed over to find Shi Shang. Miss, the regent is too much. Nothing had happened to her miss yet. How could he give it to Su Yu? Just give it to her if she wants it, Shi Shang said nonchalantly. Miss, can you be a little nervous? There are people outside the residence and the shops are gone. Shi Shang waved his hand. Don't blame him. Just eat and sleep well. Look at your dark circles. Go back and rest. Qiu Shui wanted to cry. It would be strange if she could sleep. It was a matter of life and death. Shi Shang disappeared from Qiu Shui's sight. She did not want to hear anyone talk about it. Dugu Xiu's consort selection had ended. However, because of Shi Shang, he asked people to bring the girls back to the capital first. It was said that Ding Xiang did not escape even when she tried to commit suicide. As for He Ting, he was locked up in the He family. He was not allowed to go out at all. He could only occasionally hear about what happened outside from the servants. When he heard that Su Yu and Du Gu Xiu were together, he drowned his sorrows in alcohol. He was extremely dispirited. The Su family naturally knew that Su Yu had a relationship with Du Gu Xiu. They came to find Su Yu and caused a lot of trouble. The worst time was when Suer's mother slapped Suer, saying that she was ungrateful. Du Gu Xiu almost killed Suer's mother on the spot, but Suer stopped him, and Suer's mother was spared. Suer had also severed ties with the Su family at that time, and had given them enough money to buy her sister from them. After the Su family received the money, they really didn't look for Su Yu again. Suer was a female lead who wanted to become a millionaire, so even though the male lead promised to marry her, she continued to work on her career. After getting the shops from the Ruan family, Suer immediately started to take over other businesses. Delicacies, trendy clothes, and jewelry quickly gained the favor of the girls in White River County. Suer's business was doing quite well, and with the regent in charge, no one dared to make trouble for her. Du Gu Xiu couldn't do anything to the Shishang, so he kept attacking the Ruan family's businesses. He first seized them in the name of the government and then gave them to Su Yu. In the end, the only thing left of the Ruan family was that house. Even Du Gu Yi, the temporary resident, began to feel anxious. He kept wandering around in front of the Shishang. Ruan Xiaoyang, your family is poor now, yet you still have the mood to sunbathe here? What else can I do? Shishang shifted to a more comfortable position. Aren't you so arrogant? Go and take it back. Du Gu Yi slammed the table next to him. Shishang raised his hand and brushed his hair that was messed up by the wind. You just want to see me and Du Gu Xiu fight each other, right? How can I be that kind of person? Du Gu Yi immediately retorted. I want to see you and Du Gu Xiu fight in a battle of wits and courage. It's much more interesting than the people in the capital secretly fighting each other. The people in the capital were all secretly scheming. Sometimes, they didn't even know who did it, so it was very troublesome to watch. Unlike now, when everyone knew that she and Du Gu Xiu were like fire and water, but Du Gu Xiu couldn't do anything to her. You want to watch a show? Shishang sat up and looked at Du Gu Yi. Du Gu Yi nodded like a chick pecking at rice. Shishang stood up and said casually, Let's go. Where to? To watch a show. Du Gu Yi didn't know what Shishang meant by watching a show, but when he saw that she was about to go out, Du Gu Yi flinched. After hesitating for a while, he quickly ran back to dress up and then chased after Shishang. When he reached the gate, Shishang had violently broken through Du Gu Xiu's encirclement and was walking towards the street. Du Gu Yi lowered his head and hurried to catch up. Where are we going to watch a show? What show are we going to watch? As soon as Du Gu Yi came out, he looked around with shifty eyes, as if he was afraid that others didn't know that he was a ghost. Shishang's lips curled up, and his light words fell into Du Gu Yi's ears. Welcome the Princess Regent. Du Gu Yi almost lost his balance. What did you say? Are you deaf? If you're sick, treat it. Cough, cough. Du Gu Yi choked on his saliva again and patted his chest to calm himself down. No, the Princess Regent? The one from the general's residence? Shishang rolled his eyes. Did Du Gu Xiu marry 2 women? Du Gu Yi. Of course not. Du Gu Yi didn't walk far before someone slipped a note to him. Du Gu Yi secretly opened it and looked at the girl in front of him with a strange expression. How did she know that the Princess Regent was coming? Before Shishang reached the gate of the county yamen, he saw a group of people surrounding a place. When Shishang walked over, the people all made way for him. *TCH. As soon as Shishang walked in, he heard such a coquettish voice, followed by a crisp slap. In front of the luxurious carriage, a well-dressed woman with a slightly bulging belly was glaring angrily in a direction with her willowy eyebrows raised. And the person standing opposite her was Suer. Du Gu Xiu didn't see her. Suer was inexplicably slapped, and her anger rose. I just accidentally bumped into your maidservant. I've already apologized. What right do you have to hit me? What right do I have? The woman slapped her again. But this time, the woman didn't hit her. Su'er suddenly reached out and pushed her. The woman probably didn't expect Su'er to fight back. She staggered and fell back, and her waist hit the rut of the carriage behind her. The woman's face turned pale, and her body froze. Princess consort, princess consort. The maidservants finally reacted. They surrounded the woman and shouted at the top of their lungs, "Guards, guards, where's the imperial doctor? Call the imperial doctor." Delicate. Su'er snorted, but when she saw red liquid start to seep out of the woman's skirt, she panicked. She wanted to go forward, but she was blocked by those people and couldn't get close. The woman was helped into the carriage, and Su'er was directly taken away by the guards. "If anything happens to the princess consort, you'll get it," the maidservant said fiercely to Su'er. Shishang held his face and laughed. The woman was at least 4 months pregnant. Anyone with eyes could see that, but Su'er didn't. How interesting. Ruan Xiaoyang, don't laugh. It's scary. Dugu Yi rubbed his arms. Chapter 723. The child in the woman's belly was lost. Dugu Xiu arrived late. After listening to the servant's report, he only glanced at Su'er and got into the carriage. Su'er opened her mouth and called Dugu Xiu's name silently. He quickly carried the woman down. The woman grabbed Dugu Xiu's clothes with a pale face. "Your Highness, my child." "There will be." Dugu Xiu's tone was not gentle, but it was not cold as he comforted her. "It's all Chenxie's fault." The woman sobbed. She was heartbroken and heartbroken. Dugu Xiu did not say anything. He carried the woman and walked in the direction of the county government. Shishang did not understand. Wasn't it better to take a carriage? Why did they have to walk? Su'er was forced to follow behind. The onlookers followed them all the way to the entrance of the county government and whispered about what happened just now. Did those people call the princess consort just now? Is the regent married? Baihe County was remote and winter had just passed. There was still a lot of news that had not been sent back. They called the princess consort and the regent came to pick her up personally. It must be true. Then what is Su'er? She's a vixen who seduced the prince. Now that the princess consort is here, she even made the princess consort lose her child. This is terrible. Shishang crossed his arms and slowly left the crowd. Ruan Xiaoyang. Dugu Yi called her name and caught up with her. "How did you know that the princess consort is here?" "I heard it from someone." Shishang answered honestly. "Who did you hear it from?" Dugu Yi was curious. He had just received the news. How did she know before him? "I don't know." She really did not know. When she came out, she heard a caravan say that they met a group of people who were escorted by the imperial court and a young and beautiful woman. She followed the route the caravan said and went to take a look. Didn't she know? Dugu Xiu's official princess consort was here. Wouldn't Su'er be tortured badly? Su'er had been locked in the cell for a few days. She did not see anyone other than the people who brought her food every day. That day, when the sun had just risen, she was taken out and beaten 20 times without a word. 20 paddles were definitely fatal for a girl. Su'er, who was on the verge of death, was carried back to her room. Su'er fainted from the pain, and when she woke up, her butt was burning with pain. Her tears started to fall uncontrollably. "Don't cry." A voice suddenly sounded from the side. A pair of hands cupped her face. "I'm sorry, Arkel. I've made you suffer." Dugu Xiu. Su'er's voice was hoarse. "That child. Was it really gone? I didn't know she was pregnant. I didn't push her on purpose. She hit me first," Su'er said incoherently. "I know." Dugu Xiu wiped her tears. "It's not your fault." Dugu Xiu leaned over and kissed Su'er. Su'er was kissed so hard that she forgot to cry. The pain in her body seemed to have disappeared, and she let out a soft whimper. When Dugu Xiu let go of her, Su'er grabbed his hand and asked, "You're married?" Dugu Xiu was silent for a moment. He nodded, but quickly explained, I don't like her. Kel, don't worry. After a while, I'll divorce her. Dugu Xiu said a lot of good things and told Su-er about her situation. Although Su-er found it hard to accept, she didn't harp on it. Dugu Xiu came to see Su-er every day and personally applied medicine for her. When he was applying the medicine, Dugu Xiu couldn't help but take advantage of her. Su-er couldn't move and could only lie down and let Dugu Xiu take advantage of her. Dugu Xiu, can you apply the medicine properly? Su-er lay on her stomach, her face red. Dugu Xiu's fingers stopped at Su-er's private area. He leaned over and blew into her ear. Kel, don't you like it? Su-er's face turned even redder. She pulled the quilt and wrapped it around herself. I'm fine now. I don't need you to apply medicine for me. You're fine? Dugu Xiu raised his eyebrows at Su-er. I'm fine, I'm fine. Su-er quickly shook her head. Since you're fine. Dugu Xiu dragged out his words and got on the bed. As Su-er screamed, he took off her clothes. Outside the door, the pale-faced woman quietly listened to the sounds coming from the room. Your Highness, your health is more important. The maid supporting her reminded her in a low voice. A cold smile appeared on the woman's face as she walked away. Su-er wasn't in the shop. Shi Shang led the servants of the Ruan residence to chase those people out. Those who didn't leave were beaten up. She didn't want to do business, so she smashed the shops into pieces. The news of Shi Shang smashing the shops quickly spread to Su-er and Dugu Xiu. Dugu Xiu was pestered by the princess and couldn't leave, so Su-er had to go by herself. When Su-er arrived, Shi Shang was smashing the last shop. Ruan Xiaoyang, what are you doing? Stop it. Su-er squeezed through the crowd and saw that the shop was completely destroyed. She shouted at Shi Shang. Ruan Xiaoyang, what right do you have to smash my shop? Yours. Shi Shang looked at Su-er in amusement. Do you have the deed? Dugu Xiu gave it to you. Do you really think it's yours? Shi Shang waved the deed in his hand. It's written in black and white that these shops belong to the Ruan family. I'm smashing my own things. It's none of your business. These shops have been closed down and confiscated. They don't belong to you anymore, Su-er said loudly. Shi Shang snorted and looked at Su-er with calm eyes. Who does Dugu Xiu think he is? How dare he confiscate my things? Ruan Xiaoyang, don't be so lawless. Shi Shang smiled. Hit me. As a scumbag, I feel like I've leveled up again. Sigh, I can't help being beautiful. I don't understand why the host is so proud. What's so good about being a scumbag? You. Su-er pointed at Shi Shang, her face livid with anger. She looked at the smashed shop behind her, then looked at the arrogant Shi Shang. Su-er just wanted to strangle this woman. What right did she have to trample on the fruits of her labor? Su-er forced herself not to cry. Ruan Xiaoyang, you and I can't exist under the same sky. Welcome to my enemy army. Shi Shang spread his hands. But you have to line up. There are too many people who want to kill me. Su-er. Shi Shang waved his hand and led the people who smashed the shop away. The onlookers made way for them as if they were avoiding a virus. Su-er glared at Shi Shang's back and gritted her teeth. Ruan Xiaoyang. Su-er went back in a daze. As soon as she entered the county yamen, she was called over by the princess consort's servant. The princess consort sat on the main seat and drank her tea elegantly. Su-er stood in the middle and the princess consort didn't speak. After a while, the princess consort slowly said, If you want to serve the prince, you have to learn the rules. You can't be like a country girl and embarrass the prince. Asterisk request votes. Hurry up. Hurry up. Chapter 724. The incident of Shi Shang smashing the shop made the people of Baihe County realize once again that the young lady from the Ruan family was not to be trifled with. If you wanted the shop, she would give it to you without any objections. When you reopened the shop, they wouldn't say a word and would bring their men to smash the shop. They could not afford to offend such a fierce person. Shi Shang felt great smashing the shop and Qiu Shui's heart ached. Young miss, that's our shop. You smashed it just because you said so. Did you consider the feelings of the deceased master? Shi Shang was silent. Qiu Shui was going to start nagging again. Why did she always meet people like this? Qiu Shui, I'm a little hungry. Go and get me something to eat. Qiu Shui found it strange. Didn't you just eat? I've consumed a lot of food recently. Wasn't it to get rid of you? Qiu Shui bowed. Young miss, please wait for a moment. Qiu Shui left the room. Du Gui looked inside sneakily at the door. Seeing that there was no one, he slipped in. Ruan Xiaoyang, Ruan Xiaoyang. Shi Shang looked at him. Du Gui chuckled. Let me tell you a piece of good news. Your good news is not necessarily good news to me. Shi Shang said it in a roundabout way. Du Gui winked at Shi Shang. It's really good news. Do you want to know? Ask me quickly. I'll tell you if you ask me. Shi Shang was unmoved. Du Gui could not hold it in anymore. The emperor has sent a patrol. How is this good news? The emperor was a weakling. What was the use of sending a patrol? Du Gui looked at Shi Shang with a, you don't understand this look. He shook his head and said, let me tell you, do you know who the patrol is this time? In just a few short months, the emperor made an exception and promoted He Qing to prime minister. This man, TSK, he is really capable. Now, the emperor listens to almost everything he says. Moreover, I heard that he is from Baihe County. Shi Shang, that idiot He Qing came back to die. She knew that even if she didn't go looking for him, he would come looking for her. Du Gui told the Shi Shang everything that He Qing did in the capital. Du Gui and Du Guxiu had a battle of wits and bravery in the imperial court. They were all fighting for military power. They could all be written into a political novel of 1,000,000 words. The source of Du Gui's information was a mystery. Shi Shang had never seen him contact anyone. For such a prince to be able to survive until the end, he must have some influence in private. This seemed to make sense. He pretended to be afraid of Du Guxiu, but Shi Shang didn't see any fear in his eyes. He even dared to look at Du Guxiu. Shi Shang didn't completely believe Du Gui's news, so he left the Ruan mansion alone in the evening. Stepping on his iron sword, he flew out of White River County. She had just left White River County when she saw the flickering torches on the small path below her. A few silhouettes were rapidly moving towards White River County. Shi Shang stopped above for a few seconds, and the people below stopped moving. They seemed to be looking up at her. Shi Shang let the iron sword land in front of them. The leader was He Qing. He Qing still looked very frail. His body was so thin that it seemed like the wind could blow him away. He Qing was a little annoyed. I've already told you so much in advance. How did you know? Shi Shang narrowed his eyes. Who exactly are you? Me. He maintained a smile on his face, but with his expression and the flickering torches, it felt a little strange. My name is Mu Bai. Love. White. Never heard of you. Mu Bai. He used his real name in the stud dimension. Mu Bai's mouth stiffened. He was so angry that she didn't know him. But he was a gentleman and couldn't get angry. So Mu Bai maintained his smile. It's okay. You've heard of me now. Your motive. Don't you know my motive? Mu Bai's smile was appropriate, as if he was facing a partner who was about to work with him. Shi Shang raised his eyebrows slightly. Kill me? Mu Bai smiled and didn't answer. Do you have a grudge against me or against the person who created the system? Mu Bai raised a finger. You can only answer one question at a time. He took a few steps back. Our contest has just begun. Shi Shang, I know you're a very careful person. But a horse can make mistakes. We have a long way to go. He suddenly pulled out the sword of a person behind him. Without even blinking, he slit his throat. Although he didn't want to die, everything he did before was in vain. He shouldn't have come. But if he didn't die and fell into her hands, he wouldn't have a good ending. It was better to die. Mu Bai's lips curled into a strange smile. The light in his eyes slowly disappeared. His body slowly fell into the bushes at the side. Shi Shang, you're so decisive that I don't want to make things difficult for you anymore. After Mu Bai fell, the rest of the people bit their tongues and committed suicide. Very good, Mu Bai, right? You've attracted my attention. Shi Shang leisurely walked back to White River County. The news of the patrol officer's tragic death quickly spread to White River County. The strange thing was that the patrol officer committed suicide. Such a strange death made the people of White River County puzzled. He was about to reach White River County. Why did he commit suicide? Obviously, the happiest person was Dugu Xiu. This person who appeared out of nowhere was very difficult to deal with. No matter how he died, he was now dead. Dugu Xiu didn't even have time to care about Shi Shang. He hurried back to the capital with his 2 women. Shi Shang stood on the highest tower of White River County and watched Dugu Xiu's team leave. Dugu Yi, do you want to be the emperor? No. Dugu Yi was eating and drinking beside him. A prince who doesn't want to be the emperor is not a good prince. Shi Shang turned around. You want me to be the emperor? Dugu Yi took a bite of pork shoulder. His mouth was full of oil. He chewed twice and quickly complained, Ruan Xiaoyang, there's a limit to your bragging, okay? I know you're very powerful, but this is only White River County. What kind of place is the capital? There are many people more powerful than you. Shi Shang silently looked away. This retard was not cut out to be the emperor. Who else in the capital wants to rebel? Shi Shang sat opposite Dugu Yi. Dugu Yi thought for a while and didn't answer her question. You really want to rebel? Shi Shang said with a serious face. Do I look like I'm joking with you? Dugu Yi carefully looked at Shi Shang for a few seconds and nodded firmly. Yes. Shi Shang took the wine glass on the table and threw it over. Dugu Yi tilted his head to avoid it and shouted unhappily, Don't hit me. She hit him without saying anything. She didn't act like a girl at all. Shi Shang went to take another wine glass. Dugu Yi quickly stopped him. Marquis Yongle has always wanted to rebel, but he has too little military power. He can't make any waves. Marquis Yongle was the eldest princess's husband. He was 1 generation older than Dugu Yi and the same generation as Dugu Xiu. Ding. Your Christmas activities have been sent. Please check. In the book review section. Book review section. Book review section. Important things must be said 3 times. Last thing I want to inform everyone. Tomorrow's update time will be delayed to the evening. Last daily update # today's bean sprouts flavored votes # votes please. Votes please, more votes will give you a surprise. Chapter 725. The first thing Dugu Xiu did when he returned to the capital was to get rid of Mu Bai. Without Mu Bai, the emperor was no match for Dugu Xiu. Soon, the emperor was put under house arrest by Dugu Xiu. Dugu Xiu probably didn't want to be labeled as a rebel, so he didn't rebel directly. Su'er was brought to the regent's residence, and the consort tortured Su'er. In the original plot, without Mu Bai's secret intervention, Dugu Xiu didn't need to marry the consort to gain the support of the northern general. Naturally, there was no scene between Su'er and the consort. Su'er wanted to return to Baihe County, but Dugu Xiu would affectionately urge her to stay. Su'er was sold by the Su family twice, but she was still able to return. It was clear that she was a soft-hearted person. Dugu Xiu told her about his difficulties, and Su'er quickly fell for him. The halo of the female lead was still there. Even if the consort wanted to kill Su'er several times, she didn't succeed. Because of this, Su'er learned a new skill in the shortest time, fighting in the house. In the end, Dugu Xiu gained the support of the northern general and became the most powerful person in the world. He secretly killed the emperor and left behind a fake edict, passing it to Dugu Xiu. Although many people knew the inside story, no one dared to show their dissatisfaction. If they did, they would be beheaded. Du Guxiu successfully ascended the throne. There was a problem with the empress title. As the daughter of the great general of the north and the legal wife of the king, she should be conferred the title of empress. But Du Guxiu wanted to make Su-er empress. However, many officials objected, especially the northern general. Under pressure, Du Guxiu could only make the consort empress, and Su-er was only given the title of consort. Su-er felt that she was wrong to follow Du Guxiu back. "Sister, don't be sad." The young girl patted Su-er's back. "His Majesty only has you in his heart. Even if she is the empress, she can't compete with you." Su-er forced a smile and held her sister's hand. "I'm fine." Little sister Su and Su-er looked quite similar. Little sister Su was about 14 years old, and there was still a bit of childishness between her eyebrows, but when she smiled, she was especially sweet and cute. "Sister, His Majesty just sent someone to say that he will stay in your palace tonight." The smile on Su-er's face brightened. Du Guxiu was escorted in by a crowd of people. Su-er had already taken a bath and put on new makeup, looking radiant. Du Guxiu ignored everyone else and picked Su-er up and walked towards the bed. The people behind him tactfully retreated. The two of them made love on the bed. Su-er lay on Du Guxiu's chest and said, "I want to go back to White River County." Du Guxiu frowned. "Go back for what?" There was a woman he hated in that place. Once he settled down here, he would definitely send troops to deal with that woman. "There are some things I need to take back." "Is there anything here? What do you want?" "Let the people below buy it." Du Guxiu's hands started to wander around Su-er's body. "Don't go back to White River County. I'm worried." Su-er was not satisfied. She pushed Du Guxiu away and lay down with her back facing him. All right. I'll let you go back." Du Guxiu pulled Su-er back. "But you have to make me happy." Su-er pinched Du Guxiu and sat on him. Su-er returned to White River County. It had been more than a year since they left. White River County had changed a lot. When she entered, the first thing she saw was the Ruan family signboard. The whole street was filled with the Ruan family signboard. Su-er sent someone to ask around and found out that the Ruan family was really rich now. 80% of the shops in White River County belonged to the Ruan family. Not to mention the land nearby, many of them were bought by the Ruan family. Shi Shang was now someone that many people in White River County wanted to marry. Everyone came in waves, but the Shi Shang had no intention of recruiting a son-in-law. Chapter 726. Su Yu's carriage entered Baihe County. The person who came to welcome her was the newly appointed county magistrate. Su Yu lived in the county office. Her extravagance made people envious. No one would have thought that Su-er would actually become a high and mighty concubine. As for the girls who had failed to be chosen, they were pounding their chests and stamping their feet in regret. If they had entered the palace, they might have been the ones returning in glory. There were many people who were jealous of Su Yu. Su Yu was proud of this. Didn't these people look down on her? Now, they still had to bow to her and kneel at her feet. Su Yu wanted to go back to Baihe village. The county magistrate immediately made arrangements for her. Baihe village didn't change much since she left. Who planted these fields? Su Yu pointed at the good-looking paddy field and asked the county magistrate who was following outside. The county magistrate lowered his head and answered carefully, "Your Highness, these were planted by the Ruan family." Su Yu frowned. It was Ruan Xiaoyang again. Did the villagers of Baihe village rent the land and plant them? "Your Highness, no. The Ruan family hired people to plant them." The county magistrate had heard about the grudge between Su Yu and Ruan Xiaoyang, so he was very nervous. What was this Highness trying to do? When Su Yu arrived at Baihe village, the villagers didn't like her. Due to the difference in status, they could only bury this dislike in their hearts. However, Su Yu was a very sensitive person. She could feel that they didn't like her. Su Yu was confused. When she left, She found them the Li family's fields, and the rent was lower than the Yuan family's. Why didn't they like her? So you sent someone to ask and found out that not long after she left, the Li family raised the rent. The rent was 10% higher than the Yuan family's. These tenants had signed contracts for a few years, so they suffered. Call Li Longsheng to see me. Su Yu ordered the county magistrate. Yes. The county magistrate hurried over. When he went out, he saw a horse carriage coming from another direction. Seeing the horse carriage, the county magistrate's mouth twitched. She was going to cause trouble today. Why was this person who didn't go out all year round here at this time? The county magistrate asked someone to stop the Shishang's horse carriage. Qiu Shui lifted the curtain and saw the county magistrate. She got off the carriage and bowed respectfully. Sir, what's the matter? Where is your lady going? The magistrate looked at the carriage. Recently, the weather has been very hot. Miss wants to stay in the countryside for a while to avoid the heat. The county magistrate thought quickly. If the Yuan family's farm passed by Baihe village, they would definitely bump into Su Yu's group. Ahem. Do you think it's okay to let your young miss go in 2 days? The county magistrate had also been taught a lesson by the Shishang, so he was a little afraid of the Shishang. Therefore, he spoke in a negotiating manner. Why? Autumn Water didn't understand. It wasn't easy for her young miss to come out. If she went back, she probably wouldn't be willing to come out again. The magistrate was speechless. Could he say that Su'er was in front? Shishang, who was waiting impatiently in the carriage, opened the door and said, "What are you waiting for?" "It's already dark." "Miss Yuan." The county magistrate hurried forward. "Oh, Mr. Zhou." Shishang greeted him indifferently. "Why is the road ahead blocked? Can't I pass?" No. The county magistrate was sweating profusely. Shishang obviously knew that Su'er was back. This female lead didn't get the title of empress. Instead, she got the title of concubine. How dare she come back to show off? Move aside. Miss Yuan. Shishang glared at him. The county magistrate immediately cowered and asked people to move aside. The carriage slowly drove past him. Shishang didn't want to see the retarded female lead, so he asked people to take another road to the farm. "Miss, are you tired? Do you want to rest first?" Autumn Water asked Shishang as she moved things into the house. Shishang leaned against the carriage and shook his head. Autumn Water didn't ask any more questions and ordered people to arrange things. After she finished, she realized that Su'er was gone. The group of people looked around the farm but couldn't find her. Autumn Water knew that Shishang would go to the mountain behind the farm whenever he came to the farm. Sometimes he would stay for a day, and sometimes he would stay for a few hours. Therefore, after she couldn't find her in the farm, she sent people to the mountain. After confirming that Shishang was on the mountain, Autumn Water was no longer worried. The spiritual energy on the mountain was more abundant, so Shishang was more comfortable here. She stayed until noon the next day. In the end, when she went back, she found that there were many strangers in her farm. Shishang. What was going on? Miss. Autumn Water ran out from the corner with an ugly expression. She complained angrily, "Su'er brought people and insisted on staying in our farm. My female lead is amazing. Why don't you go to heaven?" Yesterday, not long after Shishang left, Su'er brought people and insisted on staying here. Autumn Water and the others couldn't do anything about it even if they didn't agree. Su'er brought imperial guards with her, and each of them was highly skilled in martial arts. Even the servants in the farm were beaten down in a few moves. She even chased them out. "Where is she?" "Inside." Autumn Water pointed at the farm. Shishang walked towards the farm. Autumn Water followed Shishang confidently. She was no longer the Autumn Water of the past. Her miss even dared to go against the Prince Regent. Why would she be afraid of Su'er? Stop. The Imperial Guards outside the farm stopped Shishang. "This place is being used by Concubine Lon. Unrelated people can't wait." Before the Imperial Guard could finish his words, he was kicked away. The imperial guards beside him immediately surrounded Shi Sheng. Shi Sheng quickly got rid of these small fries. Su'er heard the commotion and came out. Su'er hated Shi Sheng to the core. She immediately scolded, "Ruan Xiaoyang, do you want to die?" Shi Sheng kicked the last imperial guard away. He turned his head and said with a smile, "Yes, I want to die." Su'er looked at the imperial guards lying on the ground with disdain. Why were these people so useless? Dugu Xiu said that they were the best. They couldn't even defeat a woman. How could they be the best? Su'er thought that she was the emperor's concubine now. No matter how bold Su'er was, she wouldn't dare to do anything to her. However, she forgot that Shi Sheng was someone who dared to go against the prince regent. How could he not dare to do anything to her just because she was the emperor's concubine? Therefore, Shi Sheng threw all of Su'er's people out of the farm. Su'er and the others didn't even have a chance to resist. "Ruan Xiaoyang, do you still have any respect for the law?" Su'er's gorgeous palace dress was a little dirty. Her hair was messy and she looked like a shrew. "It's not the first day that I don't have any respect for the law." Shi Sheng stood at the entrance of the farm. He looked at Su'er with a faint smile and said in a deep voice, "Su'er, if you dare to provoke me again, I'll kill you." "It's not the first day that I don't have any respect for the law." His words were as arrogant as they could be. Su'er felt a chill down her spine. She staggered back a few steps. She didn't know if she lost her footing or if she was too scared. Su'er suddenly fell. Her head hit the gravel on the ground and blood immediately flowed down. "Your Highness. There was a blackout when I was writing this chapter. Damn it, I used my phone to type this. There's no keyboard. There's only one word that can express my feelings. So cold." Okay, next is the explosive chapter that you've all been waiting for. Are you ready to fight for the position of the sofa? Count down. Those who didn't vote today, hurry up and vote. Chapter 727. The news of Su'er being thrown out of the manor by Shi Sheng somehow spread to Baihe County. When Su'er returned, the people of Baihe County pointed at her and gossiped. Su'er's temperament had changed a long time ago. After being provoked by Shi Sheng today, she flew into a rage out of humiliation. She even ordered people to beat a few people up. Most people's temperament changed according to their circumstances. Su'er's change was normal. She wasn't Dugu Xiu's only woman. Sharing a husband with another woman had already made her feel uncomfortable. She was already higher than Shi Sheng, but in the end, she was still taught a lesson by Shi Sheng. How could she accept it? But she could not do anything to Shi Sheng. "Your Highness, someone wants to see you." "I don't want to see them," Su'er said irritably. The person standing at the door hesitated for a moment, then whispered, "They say they are your biological parents." "I don't want to see them." She had already cut off all ties with them long ago. They were not biological parents. The news of Su'er ignoring her biological parents quickly spread in Baihe County. Su'er was so angry that she smashed her cup. In the end, Su'er could not stand her parents' pestering and returned to the capital. She wanted to return home in glory, but who knew that things would turn out like this? However, Su'er did not know that the reality she faced when she returned was even crueler. While she was away, her sister's status had been sealed and she was even pregnant. "I'm sorry, sister." Su'er knelt on the ground, her childish face full of guilt. "His Majesty, he mistook me for you. I couldn't break free." "I'm sorry, sister." Su'er sneered at Su'er. She saved her from her parents, but this was how she repaid her? "Get out, get out." Su'er lost control. Su'er looked at Su'er with tears in her eyes. She looked pitiful. "Sister." When Su'er saw her like this, she thought of how she was under Dugu Xiu. She grabbed something next to her and threw it at Su'er. In the end, Su'er's maid forcefully pulled her away. Su'er knelt outside Su'er's palace. No one could persuade her to leave. Only when Dugu Xiu came did she send her back to the palace. Su'er knelt for so long that she almost lost her child. Du Guxiu's face darkened as he went to see Su'er. Su'er, how did you become like this? She's a younger sister with a child in her belly. Su'er's face was dark as water. She stole my brother's man, and she wants me to congratulate her with a smile? Du Guxiu, what did you promise me before? He said that when he ascended the throne, she would be his only woman. But looking at it now, there were people constantly trying to stuff people into his harem. Every time, he would use the excuse that his foundation wasn't stable and that he couldn't reject these ministers as an excuse to keep those women and pamper them. But she's your sister. I only thought of her as you. Du Guxiu's expression was complicated. Heh. Su'er laughed coldly. This smile probably angered Du Guxiu. He stepped forward and pinched Su'er's chin, forcing her to look up. You're the only one in my heart. What else do you want? I am the emperor, and I have no choice. Can't you understand me? Su'er pushed Du Guxiu away, her eyes full of disdain. Don't touch me. Du Guxiu's hand missed. He stared at his hand for a few seconds, his eyes burning with rage. Sir. Su'er glared back coldly. Du Guxiu laughed coldly. He grabbed her and threw her onto the bed. He flipped over and ignored Su'er's screams and resistance. He had sex with her several times. Only when Su'er fainted did Du Guxiu let her go. After that, Su'er became more and more resistant to Du Guxiu. She made a fuss about leaving the palace. But it was easy to enter the palace, but difficult to leave. How could Du Guxiu let her go? Su'er would occasionally show her presence in front of Su'er, intentionally or unintentionally revealing how she took care of Su'er when she was with Du Guxiu. When Su'er was about to give birth, Su'er and Su'er quarreled. Su'er pushed Su'er, and Su'er's child was born prematurely. It was a stillborn. Du Guxiu was really angry this time and punished Su'er severely. Su'er was in dire straits, and there were many people who wanted to beat her up. The Empress had someone disfigure Su'er's face. The Empress had the northern general as her backer. Even if Du Guxiu knew who did it, he could only pretend not to know. Su'er, who was disfigured and had a bad temper, saw Du Guxiu as an enemy. Du Guxiu was the emperor, and tolerating it for a while was already the limit. After Su'er went crazy and caused another woman in his harem to miscarry, he had someone send Su'er back to White River County. When Su'er returned to White River County, she was no longer as glamorous as before. There was only an old nanny serving her. Although Du Guxiu gave her enough money, the old nanny found that Su'er was a little delirious, so she sent her to White River County and ran away with the money. Miss, look at that person downstairs. Why does she look like Su'er? Qiu Shui pulled Shi Shang's arm and pointed at a woman who was surrounded by people downstairs. Shi Shang was leaning against the window. Wasn't that the female lead? She was disfigured. The palace was indeed a scary place. Su'er was dressed well, but half of her face was disfigured, and she looked a little hideous. Someone recognized her. The news of Su'er's return spread like wildfire, and more people gathered around. Qiu Shui asked curiously, Miss, how did Su'er become like this? The last time she came back, she was still glamorous. It had only been a few months. How did she become like this? Who knows? Shi Shang turned around and went back inside. At this moment, someone knocked on the door. Qiu Shui immediately went to open the door and bowed slightly. Marquis. A man around 30 years old stood outside the door. He was dressed in brocade and had a smile on his face. He nodded politely. Miss Qiu Shui. Qiu Shui turned sideways. Miss is waiting for you inside. The man signaled to the people behind him and entered the room alone. Qiu Shui left and closed the door. Qiu Shui looked up and saw a man winking at her. Qiu Shui. The man walked in front of Qiu Shui. Why did your miss call our marquis here? Is it? I don't know. Even if she knew, she wouldn't say anything. We're in the same boat now. Qiu Shui, You don't have to be so guarded against me, right? The man was a little sad. Cho Shui rolled her eyes at the man. Who's in the same boat as you? Her miss doesn't want to be in the same boat as you. Cho Shui, who worshipped him blindly, turned her head and ignored the man. The man who failed to gather information returned to his team angrily. After standing for a while, he couldn't stand it anymore and went to talk to Cho Shui. Cho Shui was very annoyed with him, but he didn't know and kept talking. When the door opened, Cho Shui walked into the room without a word. Chapter 728. Miss Ruan, are you sure you won't consider my suggestion? Marquis Changle asked reluctantly as he walked out. Master Marquis, don't lose more than you gain. Shi Shang glanced at him. Marquis Changle chuckled. I know what to do. Since Miss Ruan isn't willing, then pretend I didn't mention it. We're still friends. Marquis Changle cupped his hands at Shi Shang. Miss Ruan, see you in the capital. Goodbye. Smart people knew who they could offend and who they couldn't. Marquis Changle left with his men. The man who was talking to Cho Shui turned around and winked at her. Cho Shui pretended not to see it. Miss, what did Marquis Changle say to you? What did he mean by that last sentence? He wants me to marry him. Marquis Changle is a little old. Cho Shui immediately said. Shi Shang. Why did you grasp the main point so strangely? Was it because he was old? She had never thought about getting married. Feng Ci wasn't even here. How could she marry a ghost? When Shi Shang went downstairs, he saw people taking Su'er away. They're from the Li family. Cho Shui ran over to take a look and came back to report. Shi Shang watched as Su Hua was dragged away. A fake smile tugged at the corner of her lips. A few days later, he heard Cho Shui gossip about Su'er. Su'er was abused by Li Honghong and her days were miserable. Shi Shang was preparing to go to the capital, so he didn't have time to gossip. She didn't bring anyone and went to the capital alone. As soon as she entered the capital, she met Dugu Yi, who was holding a flower girl. Dugu Yi ignored Shi Shang and talked to the girl as he walked past her. Until night time, Dugu Yi climbed through her window. Ruan Xiaoyang, open the window. Dugu Yi knocked on the window, not daring to make too much noise. Shi Shang opened the window. Climbing through a girl's window in the middle of the night, Lord Ping Nan is in a good mood. Dugu Yi had an automatic filter function. Ruan Xiaoyang, what are you doing in the capital? None of your business. I'm curious. Gudu Yi directly climbed into the room. I heard that Marquis Changle has made a move. Are you all planning to rebel? Shi Shang raised his eyebrows. Why? Are you regretting it? What's there to regret? I really don't have any thoughts about that position. Dugu Yi sighed. But I'm in the royal family. Why are you looking for me? Speak. Dugu Yi looked around and lowered his voice. I'll help you. After this is done, help me talk to Marquis Changle and ask him to let me leave the capital. I want to be a wanderer who roams the world. Isn't it easy for you to leave? This man was very capable. Previously, he had stayed in White River County for such a long time, yet Dugu Xiu's men did not discover him. Dugu Yi's face darkened. You don't understand the feeling of someone plotting against you all day long. Shi Shang was speechless. He knew very well that there were too many idiots who wanted to plot against him. Dugu Yi had the city defense map in his hands, as well as some information that outsiders did not know. With Dugu Yi's help, Shi Shang originally planned to rebel violently. But now, there was no need for that. Shi Shang did not even need to show his face. Marquis Changle's men had settled everything. Marquis Changle was not Dugu Xiu. He did not care about his reputation. As long as he ascended the throne, everything was fine. When the palace was breached, Dugu Xiu led his men to escape. It was a well-planned escape route that few people knew. However, when they reached the exit, they found someone waiting there. The torches gradually lit up, illuminating the entire place. Dugu Xiu saw the person standing in front of him clearly. A young girl's light voice echoed in the night. Dugu Xiu, long time no see. Dugu Xiu's mind was not filled with the glory and wealth that he was about to lose. Instead, it was filled with the words of the young girl in front of him. I want this world to have whatever surname it has. Marquis Changle had been secretly setting this up for more than a year without him noticing. By the time he realized it, it was already too late. Dugu Xiu looked at the young girl in front of him. She had not changed much in the past few years. She was still so calm and rational. Her eyes never wavered. As for them, they had already changed. Marquis Changle ascended the throne and changed the name to Changle. Dugu Xiu was imprisoned in the imperial mausoleum for his entire life to guard it. Dugu Yi faked his death and changed his name to leave the capital to travel the world. Marquis Changle did not care about trifles, but he was indeed a good emperor. White River County became independent and was no longer under anyone's jurisdiction. Shi Shang was the real king of the land and became the biggest landlord in White River County. He took over all the women in White River County. There were never any bandits in the vicinity of White River County. All the tenants lived much better lives compared to other places. Many people were envious and wanted to move to White River County. The only thing that puzzled the residents of White River County was that this landlord's daughter did not take in any son-in-law until her death. She did not have any men by her side. Shi Shang died of old age and returned to the system space. Just as Shi Shang stood up, the system's voice sounded. Host, how did the male and female lead offend you? Why did you have to kill them? I can't stand them. Shi Shang walked in front of the screen. Do you need a reason to not stand someone? That's reasonable. When you don't like someone, no matter what they do, you will find them unpleasant and your imagination will be filled with all kinds of unreliable things. No, why did it lead the host astray? You can't possibly dislike every male and female lead in every world, right? I'm a stepmother author. It's normal that I don't like the male and female lead. Shi Shang rolled his eyes. Capricious host. Shi Shang lowered his head and looked at the patch he made. There was a loophole. This Mubai was amazing. Shi Shang told the system not to mess with her. She stayed in the system space for a long time this time. He waited for her to patch before allowing the system to show her information. Name, Shi Shang Prestige, 258000 Health, 45 Contribution, 43,000 Mission Grade. Emission Score, 89 Side Mission. Failed Side Mission Reward, None Item List, Queen's Crown, Ghost King's Heart. Dark Knight. Shi Shang silently looked at the prestige. Shi Shang sighed and asked, Do you have Mu Bai's information in the database? The system is not some random website that you can check just because you want to. Searching. The system uncontrollably began to search the database. I'm so angry. Master. I've been poisoned. No matching data found. Do you want to change the keywords? Who is Mu Bai? Master, what are you doing outside? Why did you let such a strange thing in? Shi Shang looked at the system screen like an idiot. Next world. Initializing transmission. Asterisk the 22nd world ended. Mu Bai, I'm going to kneel again? Shi Shang, don't worry. There are many chances for you to kneel. Mu Bai. Little fairy. I don't know anything. Chapter 729. Everyone knew that Xine had Shu Ju, who was willing to die for her. Asterisk, drip, drip. Shi Shang could only hear this voice in her ears. It sounded a bit empty. Her body was cold and her limbs were numb. She opened her eyes with some difficulty. What entered her sight was an old, dim yellow ceiling with some cracks. The pale white light pierced her eyes, causing her to see double and her head to feel dizzy. Drip, drip, drip. Shi Shang turned her head slightly. The water covered her side of her face. She immediately turned her head back to avoid the tragedy of being drowned. She was lying in a bathtub. The water covered her whole body. One of her hands was outside the bathtub. The drip came from her side. His wrist was a little numb, and it hurt a little. Shi Sheng tried to raise her hand. A hideous wound appeared on her wrist, dripping with blood. The floor outside the bathtub was covered in blood. Shi Sheng. She cut her wrist to commit suicide. Shi Sheng felt that her life was slipping away. She turned around and found her phone on the sink. Shi Sheng held her bleeding wrist and wrapped it with a towel to stop the bleeding. She got up from the bathtub and pushed herself out of the bathtub. She struggled to move to the sink. Shi Sheng pressed on the phone for a long time, but there was no response. Shi Sheng. No battery. Is it broken? Shi Sheng breathed heavily. Holding the phone, she staggered out of the bathroom. The room outside was not big. It was about 10 square meters. She could see the whole room at a glance. It should be a single apartment. Shi Sheng walked to the table. It was a mess. There were computers, snacks, books, and papers. Shi Sheng searched for a long time but could not find the charger. Her body collapsed as she sat down on the chair. Her breathing was unstable as she gasped for air. Shi Sheng could not find the charger. She could only stop the bleeding. When she was looking for something to tie the wound, she found the charger under a pile of clothes that had not been washed for a long time. Shi Sheng bandaged the wound and plugged the phone into the charger. After charging it for a few minutes, Shi Sheng turned it on. Before he could open the phone interface, his phone started ringing non-stop. His phone was jammed and there was no response for a long time. In the end, his phone was turned off. Shi Sheng. Awesome. This time, Shi Sheng pressed the power button for a long time, but there was no response. After a moment of silence, Shi Sheng threw his phone away and decided to rely on himself. The bleeding had stopped, but the body was not at its limit. It could hold on for a while. Shi Sheng rummaged in the space for a long time and stuffed everything she found back into the space. This body had never come into contact with spiritual energy before. If it ate those things, it would probably die even faster. Shi Sheng took a jacket and wrapped it around his upper body. He took out the original owner's wallet and walked out with it. There was a living room and 2 rooms outside. Shi Sheng glanced around and moved towards the door. Outside the door was an old corridor. The white dust on the walls had begun to peel off. The floor was wet and dirty. There were piles of junk in the corners. He could even see mice running in the dark. Shi Sheng. This supporting female lead was so miserable. There was no elevator in the old building. Shi Sheng could only take the stairs. When he went downstairs, he could see the outside. It was dark and he could barely see anything. When he went down to the ground floor, there was an iron door. Shi Sheng reached out and tried to open it, but it would not budge. It was locked. F***CK. One's teeth would get stuck even if they drank cold water. Where's I's sword? Xiao Yi. Are you going out? Suddenly, an old voice sounded. Shi Sheng was so scared that he almost took out his sword and slashed it. With a "pa" sound, the lights in the corridor lit up. In the dim light, Shi Sheng saw an old man wearing a jacket. He was looking at her kindly. You didn't bring your key? Give me a moment. I'll get it for you. You don't have to make a trip. The old man turned and went into the house. Soon, he came out with a bunch of keys. The old man opened the door and said, You young people are so energetic. You're still going out at night. Unlike us, we're old. Shi Sheng did not reply. She did not know anything. The old man's eyes were not very good. It took him a while to open the door. Go ahead. Call me if you need to come back. I'll open the door for you. Thank you. Shi Sheng nodded slightly and walked out of the iron door. The old man's eyes narrowed into slits. Be careful. This was an old neighborhood. It was quite big. Shi Sheng walked and stopped for a while, looking for a place to rest. When she walked out of the neighborhood, she saw a 24-hour convenience store. Shi Sheng went over to call the owner. The owner seemed to know her. Xiao Yi. What happened to you? You're so pale. The owner came out of the store and reached out to support her. Shi Shang replied, I'm not feeling well. Hey, why are you not feeling well? Don't move. I'll take you to the hospital, the owner said and closed the door. Shi Shang fell silent for a moment. The original owner is quite popular. The owner took Shi Shang to the hospital and took care of the hospitalization procedures. After Shi Shang was sent to the ward, she had time to read the plot. This was a romance novel. The host was called Xine. She was an orphan. Her parents left her a house in the neighborhood where she came from. The people in the neighborhood pitied her and helped her from time to time. It could be said that she grew up with the help of hundreds of families. After Xine went to college, she reorganized the house and rented out 2 rooms to others. One of the tenants was the male protagonist, Xie Yan. Xie Yan was an author. He wrote romance novels on a website. Now was the time when romance novels were popular. Xie Yan's novel became popular. After that, he became a god among romance novels. After living in Xine's house, he liked Xine and often took care of her. Their relationship was a bit ambiguous. People in the neighborhood joked about them from time to time. Xie Yan didn't refute. Xine was shy and didn't want to confess. Xie Yan confessed to her first. They naturally got together. But all this began to change with the appearance of the male protagonist, Nie Cheng. Nie Cheng appeared in Xie Yan's world and moved next door to Xie Yan. Xine didn't find anything wrong at first. She only thought that he knew Xie Yan. Every time she went on a date with Xie Yan, Nie Cheng would appear intentionally or unintentionally. Nie Cheng appeared too many times. Xine was a bit dissatisfied. She complained to Xie Yan, who knew that Xie Yan would be evasive. Until Xine accidentally saw the 2 of them kissing. Xine wanted to break up with Xie Yan. But at that time, Xie Yan found out that Nie Cheng had an affair with his ex. He didn't want to be with Nie Cheng. He said that he was forced by Nie Cheng and didn't want to be with Nie Cheng. And Nie Cheng did move away at that time. Xine believed Xie Yan's words. Then her tragedies began to happen. There were always inexplicable men pestering her. She was also photographed and uploaded to the school forum. They said that she was a loose woman and had an ambiguous relationship with many men. Seeing that she was about to graduate, the school used this reason to dissuade her. The internship company she had just found also rejected her on the grounds that she was not suitable. Xine's life was a mess. Xie Yan received a message from a mysterious man, saying that Xine had cheated on him. Chapter 730. When Shi Shang returned to her room, she was disappointed to see the mess in the room. The original owner used to be a girl who liked to clean up, but after being harassed, she became absent-minded, so she didn't like to clean up. When she came over, the room looked like a garbage dump. Shi Shang went to the bathroom. Because she was a girl, the bathroom was separated from the outside to her room, the one where Xie Yan and Nie Cheng shared the master bedroom. The blood on the floor of the bathroom had turned black and smelled bad. Shi Shang couldn't stand it anymore, so she found someone to help her clean up. When she paid the bill, she found out that the original owner was very poor. She used all her money to pay for the medical and hospitalization fees, so she only had a few cents left in her card. The cleaning lady looked at Shi Shang suspiciously. Shi Shang was embarrassed. "Auntie, can you come downstairs with me to get the money?" The cleaning lady didn't say anything, but she must have despised Shi Shang. How dare she ask someone to clean her room when she didn't have money? She could have just cleaned the room herself. However, Shi Shang didn't have any skills other than keeping herself from starving to death. Shi Shang borrowed money from the shop owner downstairs. The shop owner was worried about her health, so she gave Shi Shang 1,000 yuan and told Shi Shang to buy something to nourish her body. Shi Shang held the 1,000 yuan and was touched. She was so poor that she needed to borrow money. Shi Shang thanked the shop owner and went back. When she reached the door, she saw Nie Cheng opening the door. Nie Cheng was carrying a lot of bags. Shi Shang saw the ointment in one of the bags. Nie Cheng didn't even look at her. He opened the door and went straight to Xie Yan's room. Bang! The old windows were shaking with the sound of the door being slammed. My little attack is amazing. You dare to be so arrogant in front of your real girlfriend. Nie Cheng's family seemed to be very rich. If she kicked Xie Yan out, Nie Cheng would benefit from it. Besides, she didn't have to travel all the way to see them if Xie Yan stayed here. Shi Shang walked slowly to her room. She had just sat down at the desk when someone knocked on the door. Nie Cheng stood outside with a dark face. What? Where's the pot? Nie Cheng asked coldly. Nie Cheng was about to cook something for Xie Yan when he realized that the pot was gone. How would I know? Would I eat the pot? Shi Shang rolled his eyes and slammed the door. Looking for a pot to find her here? What was wrong with him? Nie Cheng was hit in the face by the wind. He looked at the old door and didn't come back to his senses for a long time. This woman actually dared to shout at him? He even dared to slam the door? Nie Cheng wanted to knock on the door, but he was afraid that Xie Yan would come out, so he gave up and went out to buy a pot. In order to make a perfect attack, he had to activate his cooking skill. The Shi Shang could smell the tempting aroma of food in the room. Shi Shang pursed his lips, grabbed the computer on the table, and turned it on. The desktop was a mess, and the computer was running at a very slow speed. This girl was so poor that it made one's hair stand on end. Shi Shang found a few folders on the computer. The folders didn't have titles, and the titles were a string of letters that seemed to be randomly typed. Shi Shang clicked on them. Two of them were pictures, one was an account and diary, and the other was a novel. The pictures were of the original host and Xie Yan, and some of them were of Nie Cheng. The three of them went out to watch a movie or eat together. Every time the original host and Xie Yan took a picture together, Nie Cheng would intentionally or unintentionally leave the picture, creating an awkward picture of the three of them in the same frame. The account was a record of how much money the original host spent every day. She even recorded the amount of money she spent on the bus. Shi Shang continued flipping through the pages and found three of the bigger accounts. One of them was a notebook, which cost more than 6,000 yuan. However, Shi Shang didn't see that brand of notebook in the original host's room. The other one was 3,000 yuan, which was just a number without a description. The last one was 5,000 yuan, which was a phone. Shi Shang also didn't see that brand of phone in the original host's room. Shi Shang searched his memory, and according to the time, he soon found out where these things went. The original host gave them to Xie Yan. Shi Shang. This stupid girl. The last folder. Shi Shang clicked on it. There were 7 novels in total. 5 of them had names, and the others didn't. The 5 named novels should be Xie Yan's novels. Shi Shang thought that the original host only saved her boyfriend's novels. However, when he clicked on it, he found that 2 of the novels had been edited. Shi Shang opened the web and searched for Xie Yan's pen name, Yan Yeji. Many pirated novels popped up on the web. Shi Shang found the original website and clicked on the author's column. The latest novel was called Divine Beast, which was a slash story about cultivation. Little Shou was a divine beast, while Little Top was a cultivator. The homonym for this novel was Divine Shou, which was very suitable for the theme. The latest update was a week ago. Shi Shang compared the original host's documents and found traces of editing in the last chapter of the novel. Shi Shang. He seemed to have found something incredible. Xie Yan's novels were edited by the original host? Shi Shang clicked on Xie Yan's earlier novels and compared them with Divine Beast. It was easy to see that there was a big difference between the two. Even if Xie Yan was improving, boys and girls would have their own fixed habits when using certain rhetorical techniques. Xie Yan's rhetorical techniques were obviously different from those of the later novels. Xie Yan's popular novel was called The Pampered Son, which was about the abuse of modern rich families. The update coincided with the time when Xie Yan moved into the original host's house. However, Shi Shang didn't find these things in the original host's memory. It seemed that the original host had forgotten all these things. Shi Shang looked at the remaining two. One of them only had a synopsis, while the other was a suspense story. It had already been written. It was only about 150,000 words long. The pen name at the end was Xine. Shi Shang spent some time reading this novel from beginning to end. The writing style was beautiful, the plot was interesting, and the relationships between the characters were complicated but not chaotic. If he sold the IP, he could definitely sell it for a good price. The original host's writing ability and plot construction were good. If she became an author, she would definitely be popular. Shi Shang didn't know the original host's purpose for writing this novel, so he didn't touch it and kept it well. Since the original host didn't tell him how to deal with this novel, he wouldn't touch it. Shi Shang couldn't tell whether the original host helped Xie Yan edit the novel or not. What if Xie Yan edited the novel and sent it to the original host? So, whether the original host helped to edit the novel or not, he would know when Xie Yan updated the novel next time. Shi Shang registered an author's account on Xie Yan's website. It was such a good opportunity that he couldn't let go of it. It was his dream to trick all the readers in the world. Digging a hole, Shi Shang went online. Chapter 731. Shi Shang spent the whole night writing the outline. At dawn, she finally finished the first 3 chapters and posted them on the website. Shi Shang yawned and stood up from the chair. She stretched and sighed. So poor. She glanced at the phone that was still plugged into the charger. After a few seconds of hesitation, Shi Shang unplugged the phone and pressed the power button. She thought she wouldn't be able to turn it on, but the screen lit up quickly. Of course, the battery was lagging. Luckily, it didn't crash. Shi Shang waited for a while before she began to read the incoming messages. They were no different from the ones in the original owner's memory. They either called her shameless, sent her threatening pictures, or photoshopped photos of her. The original owner was a young girl, so it was normal for her to be scared. Shi Shang scrolled for a while and a few more messages came in. Shi Shang shook her head, took out the card and threw it away. She would buy a new one when she got out. Why didn't this girl change her card? Shi Shang didn't sleep the whole night and slept until the afternoon. There was a noise in the living room. Shi Shang sat for a while before she got up. She put on her slippers and opened the door to look outside. Nie Cheng was tinkering with something in the kitchen. It smelled good. Shi Shang curled her lips. She remembered that she hadn't eaten for a long time. She changed her clothes and prepared to go out for dinner. Shao Yi. Shi Shang was about to go out when Xie Yan's voice came from behind. He was holding the door and looked pained. Shi Shang looked over and Xie Yan immediately squeezed out a smile. You haven't eaten yet, right? Let's eat together? Nie Cheng heard the noise in the kitchen and came out with a dark face. He glared at Shi Shang. No need. Shi Shang pushed the door open. She couldn't eat with these two people. Xie Yan shuddered as the door slammed shut. He looked at Nie Cheng and saw the dark expression on Nie Cheng's face. He tried to explain himself. She's a girl. Nie Cheng sneered. She cheated on you. Why are you still so protective of her? Shao Yi isn't that kind of person. Xie Yan defended. Nie Cheng took 2 steps forward, pinched Xie Yan's chin, and kissed him in a domineering manner. After the kiss, he said in a gloomy voice, You belong to me now, remember that. Nie Cheng turned around and went into the kitchen. Xie Yan stood there until Nie Cheng called him to eat. Shi Shang finished his meal and came back with a new card. Nie Cheng and Xie Yan were still eating. The two of them sat very close to each other. Xie Yan's face was flushed, and Nie Cheng had one hand under the table. When Shi Shang came in, Xie Yan moaned. Nie Cheng looked at Shi Shang provocatively, as if he was showing off. Xie Yan lowered his head and bit his lips. Shi Shang was disgusted by the two of them. It was true. It's fine if you're in the room, but you're like this in the living room. Shi Shang felt goosebumps all over his body as he walked back to his room. He had better chase these two people out of the room as soon as possible so that they wouldn't dirty his eyes. Shi Shang went back to his room and turned on his computer. There was already a short message on the website, indicating that she could sign the contract. Shi Shang edited it according to the prompt. Before Shi Shang could finish typing, the editor's message came in. Huayueke, send me your outline. Ancestor, Huayueke. This pen name really didn't want to talk. Shi Shang clicked on the outline and sent it to the editor. While the editor was reading the outline, Shi Shang searched for this editor on the website for him, but Shi Shang didn't find anything. But this was sent from the back end. It couldn't be fake, right? Maybe it was a new editor. Huayueke, who's the female lead? Ancestor, Yang Nian. Huayueke, she didn't know what the other party was doing. It took a while for her to reply. Huayueke, change the outline and send it to me before 5 o'clock. Shi Shang felt that there was nothing wrong with his outline. Ancestor, why should I change it? I think the setting is quite good. Ancestor, what do you think is wrong? Ancestor, say something. Shi Shang closed the chat. Why was the new editor so cold? It was too difficult to deal with. It was better to change the editor. She immediately switched to another editor and abandoned the novel that only had 3 chapters in the beginning. Luckily, she had a lot of ideas and wasn't afraid of not having a manuscript. Shi Shang was busy writing the novel while Nie Chang and Xie Yan were busy cultivating their relationship. Shi Shang went out to mail the contract. When he came back, he found Xie Yan sitting alone in the living room with his laptop open. Xiao Yi, you're back. Xie Yan raised his head and greeted her with a smile. After flirting with another man in front of his girlfriend, he could still greet her as if nothing had happened. Did he think that the original owner liked him so much that she would forgive him no matter what he did? Or did he think that she was stupid and didn't know anything? Shi Shang admired this little bottom. Shi Shang glanced at his laptop. It was the same brand as the original owner's. Okay. Shi Shang looked away, changed his shoes and entered the house. Have you eaten? Xie Yan asked considerately. Shi Shang replied indifferently, yes, I did. Xie Yan replied with an oh, and fell silent. Seeing that Shi Shang was about to enter the house, Xie Yan hurriedly said, Xiao Yi, can you help me read the latest chapter? Shi Shang. That's right. I don't have time. I'd rather dig 2 more holes than help you edit your novel. Shi Shang went into his room. Xie Yan stood there awkwardly. Xie Yan felt that something was wrong. Shi Shang finished writing and logged onto the website. He found that Xie Yan had updated a chapter. Shi Shang clicked on the latest chapter. Sure enough, it was very different from the previous one. It was no different from his original novel. This stupid original owner. The readers also found that something was wrong with Xie Yan's chapter. However, the plot didn't change much. The readers just complained that the author was in a bad mood. Shi Shang had just finished updating today's chapter. Huayueke sent a message to her. Huayueke, did you change your outline? Ancestor. No, I'm not writing anymore. I let you choose. If you choose I will choose you. Huayueke. Huayueke didn't send her any more messages. Shi Shang directly blocked her. Shi Shang's typing speed was very fast. Her editor, Mosey, told her not to update so fast. Otherwise, she wouldn't be recommended. Mosey. Ancestor. You updated so much today. I just applied for a recommendation for you. Why are you updating so fast? Mosey. Ancestor, are you there? Ancestor. I'm waiting for a recommendation. I'm so poor that I have to eat dirt. She was still in negative equity. She didn't have any startup funds. She wanted to sell the things in her space. However, she found that it was very troublesome to sell them in this world. She needed a proper channel and all kinds of certificates. It was very difficult to sell a product like her, unless it was someone she knew. Mosey. The editor was probably furious. However, Shi Shang's novel was very creative. The editor thought highly of her. Therefore, even though Shi Shang was updating like a cheat, the editor still tried to get her novel recommended. Chapter 732. Shi Shang's editor didn't have many authors under her, and even fewer were good authors. Almost all of her recommendation spots were given to Shi Shang. If the editor's recommendation spots were given to the right person, she would get a god. Shi Shang was having a good time, but Xie Yan was having a hard time. Because of the sudden change in style, the readers couldn't accept it. After a few chapters, many people gave up on the novel. Xie Yan was haggard and didn't even want to see Nie Cheng. He hesitated for a long time and finally decided to go to Shi Shang. Xiao Yi. Xie Yan knocked on Shi Shang's door for more than a minute before Shi Shang opened the door. What's up? We haven't seen a movie in a long time. I bought a ticket. Let's go together. Nie Cheng isn't coming. Xiao Yi, Nie Cheng and I are just friends. Xie Yan immediately shook his head. Didn't I explain to you what happened last time? It was an accident. Xiao Yi, trust me. Ha! How dare you say it when you already did it? Xie Yan raised the ticket in front of Shi Shang. Xiao Yi, this is what you wanted to see the most. Let's go together. Who the hell wants to go to the movies with you? No way. Shi Shang slammed the door. Xie Yan was locked out of the door. After a while, he knocked on the door. There was no response. He took out his phone to make a call, but the number was not in service. Xiao Yi. Open the door. Xiao Yi. Xine, open the door. Let's talk. Xie Yan's voice was a little angry. During this time, he was pestered by Nie Cheng. Although he was living under the same roof as Shi Shang, they didn't have much interaction. Shi Shang didn't want to talk to him. The most important thing now was to make money and then kick these two people out of his house. On the first day Shi Shang's novel was published, it rushed to the top 10 of the website sales chart. The top 10 sales were all 10,000 yuan a day. On the third day, it was in the top 3. In the first month, Shi Shang's income was 100,000 yuan a month. However, after receiving the first payment, the readers found that the author's updates were drastically reduced. After receiving the first sum of money, Shi Shang didn't write any more articles and directly rushed into the stock market. Mo Seed, Ancestor, you haven't updated for 3 days. When are you going to get better? Ancestor, I'll update when I have time. Cute Seed, aren't you so poor that you have to eat dirt? Ancestor, no. She was rich now. Although she wasn't even a millionaire, she was still rich and didn't need to eat dirt. Mosey was speechless. She actually stopped updating a good article. Previously, her updates had been so fierce. She was about to make a god, but in the end, she said that she wouldn't update for a long time. The editor fainted in the toilet. Now that he had money, Shi Shang immediately paid back the money he owed to his boss, Sister Hong. There's no hurry. You can use it first. Sister Hong was worried that the Shi Shang didn't have enough money, so she refused to accept it. I have money. Shi Shang put the money on Sister Hong's counter. Thank you, Sister Hong. Sister Hong shook her head. This child. She turned around and packed a few bags of snacks for Shi Shang. Take them back and let me know if you need anything. Shi Shang took out a 50 yuan note from his pocket and put it on the counter. Then, he rushed out with the bag. Sister Hong didn't know whether to laugh or cry as she looked at the 50 yuan note. She wanted to give it to Shi Shang, not to sell it for money. Shi Shang ran too fast and bumped into someone outside. He looked up and saw Nie Cheng's gloomy face. He suddenly reached out and grabbed Shi Shang, dragging him to a corner where there was no one else. Xine, what have you been talking about with Xie Yan recently? Nie Cheng questioned fiercely. Xie Yan wasn't answering his calls or replying to his messages. Even his room was locked from the inside. Shi Shang flung Nie Cheng's hand away forcefully. I didn't say anything to him. Who knew what was wrong with Shi Sheng? Maybe he was on his period. Nie Cheng threatened, Xine, I'm warning you. Break up with Xie Yan now. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Shi Sheng sneered. Oh, you're going to use those dirty tricks? Nie Cheng frowned. How did she know? But it wasn't a big deal. It's good that you know. It's just a matter of a few words if I want you to lose your job here. Nie Cheng said arrogantly and strode away. Shi Sheng was speechless. What a domineering man. If you want I to lose my job, you have to be alive first. Idiot. When Shi Sheng returned, Nie Cheng was dragging Xie Yan out of the door. The three of them bumped into each other at the stairs. Shi Sheng was standing at the bottom of the stairs. Nie Cheng was dragging Xie Yan, but when Shi Sheng appeared, Nie Cheng pulled Xie Yan into his arms. Xine. Xie Yan panicked and tried to push Nie Cheng away. Nie Cheng lowered his head and whispered in Xie Yan's ear, If you dare to struggle, I'll kiss you in front of her. Xie Yan froze. Nie Cheng held him in his arms and walked down the stairs. Shi Sheng stood in the middle and didn't move. Miss Xine, please make way. Where are you taking my boyfriend? Shi Sheng asked with a smile. Nie Cheng said calmly, Business. Oh, business. Shi Sheng nodded and turned her body slightly. Nie Cheng felt that Shi Sheng's tone was a bit weird. He got down from Shi Sheng's side. When they were about to turn the corner, Shi Sheng spoke slowly. You did business in bed? Xine is not. Xie Yan looked up and tried to explain himself. However, before he could finish his sentence, Nie Cheng interrupted. So what if he is? Nothing. Shi Sheng shrugged and smiled sarcastically. Control yourself. Don't get a kidney deficiency. Nie Cheng watched as Xine turned around and went upstairs. He was confused. Why did she react so strangely? Xie Yan wanted to chase after Xine, but Nie Cheng held him tightly and wouldn't let him move. Nie Cheng, what do you want? Xie Yan yelled at him. His voice was so loud that the entire stairwell was filled with his voice. Nie Cheng didn't say anything and dragged him down the stairs. When Xie Yan came back, his legs were weak. He found his and Nie Cheng's luggage outside the door. Xie Yan tried to open the door but couldn't. Xie Yan knocked on the door and the door opened. Shi Sheng seemed to be waiting for him to come back. Xine, what is the meaning of this? Xie Yan pointed at the luggage on the floor and asked. I am chasing you away. Shi Sheng rolled his eyes at Xie Yan. Do you think I would still want you if you were slept with by another man? Xie Yan's face turned pale. He tried to explain, Nie Cheng was joking with you. I am serious. Shi Sheng looked at Xie Yan's slightly trembling legs and nodded. We're talking about the bed. It's business indeed. Xie Yan, did you bully Xine? The uncle who had been eavesdropping opened the door and walked over. I knew you were up to no good. Xine, don't be afraid. I will teach him a lesson for you. Xie Yan quickly explained, Uncle Chong, I didn't. Xine misunderstood. Chapter 733. Shao Yi. Uncle Chong looked at Shi Sheng. He cheated. Shi Sheng said calmly. Uncle Chong's expression changed. He grabbed Xie Yan's collar and punched him in the face. I hate people like you the most. You're fickle-minded. Uncle Chong spat. What's wrong with Shao Yi? What did she do wrong to you? Ahem. Xie Yan's face was swollen and blood seeped out of the corner of his mouth. Uncle Chong, let me explain. Explain what? Shao Yi wronged you? You're not good enough for Shao Yi. Uncle Chong dragged Xie Yan downstairs. The residents downstairs heard the noise and came upstairs. Seeing Uncle Chong carrying Xie Yan, they all asked what happened. This little bastard cheated on Shao Yi. Uncle Chong snorted. What? Everyone was shocked. Uncle Chong said a few words and everyone stared at Xie Yan angrily. Someone went up and took Xie Yan and Nie Cheng's things down. It was after work hours and there were many people in the community. Xie Yan was definitely the target of everyone's criticism. Shi Shang followed behind and someone comforted Shi Shang. Xiao Yi, don't be afraid. We won't let him bully you. Xiao Yi, don't take this scumbag to heart. You still have a long way to go. Someone was afraid that Shi Shang would take things too hard like last time. Okay, I know. Shi Shang nodded obediently. Who doesn't meet scumbags in life? Everyone was relieved when they saw that Shi Shang didn't overreact. They were afraid that she would do what she did last time. Xiao Yi, listen to me. Xie Yan's voice came from the front. Several men had already dragged Xie Yan to the entrance of the community. His weak body was no match for these men. He was thrown out of the community. Shi Shang walked from the group of women to the entrance of the community and looked at Xie Yan. Xie Yan, I dumped you. Remember, we didn't break up. I dumped you. Xiao Yi, you're right. The people behind him immediately shouted. Xie Yan's face turned pale. Xiao Yi, do you really have to be so ruthless? Pfft. Shi Shang could not hold back his laughter. He laughed for a while before saying, You slept with someone in my house. How can I be so cruel? I'm not convinced by this theory. You. Xie Yan's face turned pale. Isn't it good that I dumped you? You can be with your new lover. Why are you being so pretentious with me? Xie Yan was being stared at by a group of people. He felt as if he was a naked man being stared at. Xie Yan felt humiliated. After all, they had dated before. Was there a need to let so many people know about it? Nie Cheng appeared in front of Xie Yan like a savior when he was at a loss of what to do. Nie Cheng helped Xie Yan into the car and packed his luggage. Before he left, he looked at Shi Shang and said, Cinny, you will regret this. Shi Shang. F***CKU. He was the one who asked her to break up with Xie Yan. Now that she had dumped Xie Yan, he still had something to say. If you're so awesome, why don't you go and rule the universe? Idiot. Xiao Yi, don't be sad. We will support you. If anyone dares to bully you, they will be going against us. Yeah, that's right. It's not worth it to be with that kind of person. I'm fine really. Shi Shang gestured for them to stop. Thank you, everyone. Let me treat you to dinner. Seeing Shi Shang's insistence, everyone didn't refuse and brought their men to a nearby restaurant. However, when it was time to pay the bill, a group of people was worried that Shi Shang did not have enough money, so they suggested going Dutch. Shi Shang tried hard to persuade them to give up. She could still afford to treat them to a meal. On the way back to the neighborhood, Shi Shang was left behind. When he entered the neighborhood, he saw the granny who had opened the door for her before. She was trembling as she walked out. This was Granny Yang. She was very nice to the original owner. Granny Yang, where are you going? Shi Shang asked when he passed by her. Granny Yang was hard of hearing and did not hear clearly. Huh? Shi Shang raised his voice. I'm asking you where you are going. This time, Granny Yang heard him clearly. I'm going to pick up my grandson. Shi Shang was not a nosy person. After asking her, he walked her out of the neighborhood and left. When Shi Shang got home, the computer that he had left open was full of messages from her editor. The lousy computer froze. Shi Shang was silent for a moment. It was better to get a new computer. This computer wasn't even enough for her to play around with. Shi Shang rebooted the computer. Although it still froze, it could still be used. Some of the messages from Mozzie seemed to have been blocked. Shi Shang only saw that she was urging him to update. Mozzie's messages came in again when she came online. Mozzie, how did you offend Nie Cheng? Nie Cheng? What the hell? Ancestor? Mozzie, Nie Cheng rejected all the recommendations and benefits I submitted. Mozzie, how did you offend this black-faced Hades? Shi Shang suddenly remembered that Nie Cheng was the editor-in-chief of the female channel. This male lead was amazing. He must have seen her information. After all, her sales were too eye-catching. It was only natural that the higher-ups would want to see it. Mosey, how did you offend him? Oh. The editor was very agitated. This was the first author under her who was about to become a god. She could not believe that she was going to die so early. Shishang tapped on the keyboard and a row of words popped up on the screen. Ancestor. Maybe it's because you touched his man. Mosey. There were several frightened emojis behind the words. There was too much information in this sentence. Mosey could not digest it. Mosey. Does he really like men? Shishang did not reply. Mosey's messages kept coming in. Mosey. Do you know Nye Cheng in real life? Mosey. There was a rumor in the editorial department that Nye Cheng was close to a man. Mosey. Ancestor, don't play dead. I know you are there. Tell me, who is it? Mosey. Ancestor, I'm calling you Ancestor. Shishang's mouth twitched as he looked at Mosey's messages. This was not the work attitude an editor should have. Ancestor. Aren't you afraid of being fired for gossiping about your boss? Mosey. I'm not afraid of him. Tell me, who is Nye Cheng with? A small editor was not afraid of the chief editor, who was the male lead. Amazing. She must have someone backing her. Ancestor, Xie Mosey. Who was Xie? No one knew him. Mosey was very nosy about Nye Cheng. If it were not for the excitement in her words, Shishang would have suspected that this editor liked Nye Cheng. However, it turned out that Mosey was just gossiping about who Nye Cheng was with. After gossiping, Mosey jumped to the topic of erotic novels again. Mosey. Ancestor, you should write erotic novels too. I really want to see your erotic novels. They must be very creative. Mosey. Our website is now supporting erotic novels. With a gay boss, the direction of the website must follow him. Shishang's novels sometimes did not even have a male lead. It was just a catfight between a few women. However, it was very interesting and the readers liked it. Why should she write erotic novels? It would be strange if people read erotic novels that did not have a male lead. Chapter 734. Little Ancestor. Nye Cheng wants to ban me now. Whatever I write is useless. Nye Cheng is such a vengeful man. Since he knows I'm on this website, he won't let me live. Mosey, wait. Mosey. 266 ******** 6 Little Ancestor. Why did he send her a string of numbers? Mosey. Your writing is so good. Nye Cheng can't do anything. If you add this account, you'll definitely become a god. Shishang wrote purely out of interest. Previously, she made money because she was short of money. Now that she was rich, she didn't care if she could sign a contract or not. Thus, Shishang happily let go of this matter. Shishang went offline and went to the living room to get some water. However, there wasn't any water in the water dispenser. In the past, this was all done by the original owner. Xie was only useful. Shishang put her hands on her hips and blew on her bangs. She was so thirsty. Shishang went to the kitchen to boil water. However, she couldn't find a kettle. Most importantly, there wasn't any tap water. Shishang. What a joke. Shishang went downstairs to buy water. Sister Hong's husband was guarding the shop. He smiled and said a few words to Shishang. Shishang came out of the shop after drinking water. The shop was dark all around. Shishang hurried back to the neighborhood. She took a few steps and paused. She turned to look at the street opposite. There seemed to be a figure standing under the dark streetlight. It looked like Granny Yong. Shishang stuck out her tongue and licked her lips. She turned and walked towards the figure. Granny Yong stood under the streetlight. She stretched her neck and looked in a direction. Granny Yong. The surroundings were very quiet right now. She heard Shishang's call and turned her head with a chuckle. Xiaoya. Granny Yong, It's almost midnight. Shi Shang pointed at her phone. Your grandson won't be coming back. You should go back. Granny Yang's weathered face was reflected on the phone screen. She looked disappointed. Sigh, they're all busy. Shi Shang didn't want to criticize others. I'll send you back. Granny Yang was probably unwilling to give up. She craned her neck and looked for a while before nodding. Go back, go back. Shi Shang sent Granny Yang back. When he went upstairs, he heard some noises on her floor. Shi Shang tiptoed up the stairs and looked outside from the corner of the stairs. 2 men in black masks were opening her door. One of them even had a knife in his hand. If she had not sent Granny Yang off earlier, she would have been in the house by now. Just as Shi Shang was sighing, the 2 of them opened the door and quickly entered. Shi Shang took out his phone and called Yao Yao Ling. There was nothing wrong with looking for the police. After calling the police, Shi Shang went up and stood at the door, waiting for the 2 thieves to come out. About 2 minutes later, the thief with the knife poked his head out. Before he could see what was going on, a kick landed right on his face. The thieves were kicked back into the house. Shi Shang opened the door and reached out to turn on the light at the entrance. One of the thieves was standing a few steps away. He was probably shocked by the turn of events. By the time the police arrived, Shi Shang had already tied up the 2 thieves. The sirens woke up everyone in the community and they all ran over. Shi Shang suspected that the 2 thieves had ulterior motives. However, the 2 thieves insisted that they were stealing. Shi Shang did not have any evidence, so he could not accuse them of trying to harm her. The police would think that she was crazy. The police took the thieves away and said that they would contact her if there was any progress. After comforting Shi Shang, the people in the community went home. After this incident, Shi Shang put up a defense talisman in the house. When this Nie Cheng decided to be ruthless, he was much more ruthless than she had imagined. Shi Shang's daily routine was to watch the comments on Xie Yan's book review. Although the style of writing had changed, the plot remained the same. Now that the plot had changed, many people expressed that they could not understand it. Xie Yan told the author that he had recently fallen out of love and was not in a good state. After pouring out his grievances, the readers who were about to explode started to feel sorry for Xie Yan. As soon as Shi Shang exited the page, Moetzi sent a message to her. Moetzi, my favorite BL author has fallen out of love. The novel is not good anymore. Ancestor, when will you start to update again? Ancestor, did you just chat with me at work? It was such a good company. She wanted to work there. Speaking of work, Moetzi, I chat with a lot of people. Picture. Moetzi posted her chat with a lot of people. Shi Shang counted at least 10 people. This girl was awesome. Ancestor, does your company need editors? Moetzi, why? Do you have friends coming? Moetzi replied very quickly. Shi Shang did not know if she replied first or if she was always so fast. Ancestor, I am going to apply for a job and see if I can get in through the back door. The male lead was there. She had to go and annoy him. Moetzi, why did you become an editor instead of writing? Your monthly salary is equivalent to a year's salary. Moetzi felt that this author was crazy. Ancestor, I want to experience the feeling of being urged to write. Moetzi, I am speechless. Moetzi, yes, but don't you have a grudge against Nie Cheng? Won't you fight with him every day? Ancestor, how can we not fight in this world? The host is talking nonsense again. When I ask you to fight, you run faster than anyone else. Moetzi, this author is causing trouble. Moetzi sent the recruitment notice to Shi Shang. It would be more convenient for her to urge him to update at the editing department. Haha, she was so smart. Shi Shang definitely didn't have Mo Seed in mind to send her a recruitment notice. Shi Shang submitted his resume according to the recruitment notice. She had not graduated from university and Shi Shang did not have much hope. But one day, she really received an interview notice. The interview location was in the company. Shi Shang arrived early in the morning with a few other people. Some of them were fresh graduates, while others looked like they had been working for a few years. Shi Shang, a hothead, was naturally listed as having no work experience. There were 3 people in the interview. 2 of them went in at the same time and explained their definition of online literature. Those who passed would go on to the next round. Shi Shang passed the first round easily. The second round was an individual interview with different questions. Shi Shang's question was to point out which of the 3 novels had the potential to become popular and explain the reason. The moment Shi Shang went up, she sprayed all 3 books. The examiners all looked at Shi Shang, stupefied. I didn't ask you to be a troll. I choose the 3rd novel. Shi Shang changed his tone. The setting is mature and the characters have distinct personalities. The plot is reasonable and there are no obvious loopholes. Asterisk, come on. Vote. Vote. Vote quickly. I need you. Chapter 735. So why did you scold the male lead as soon as you came up? Although Shi Shang did scold the male lead, she did not deny that the author wrote well. The examiner had reservations about such a weird girl. After a discussion, Shi Shang entered the 3rd round. The questions in the 3rd round were even more perverted. Shi Shang barely passed, and 2 other people passed at the same time as her. Both of them had work experience, but Shi Shang did not have any experience at all. Shi Shang had never seriously worked before. In the previous worlds, she was either rich or powerful, so she didn't need to work at all. Come over tomorrow to complete the procedures. Don't be late. The staff handed them a staff handbook. Take this back and read it. You don't need to memorize it, but you must know it. After the staff left, the other 2 began to talk as they walked out. Big companies are different. Even the staff handbooks are so advanced. You can do whatever you want when you have money. Work hard and become permanent employees. These 2 people knew each other. They used to work on the same website and were somewhat famous editors. Shi Shang followed them downstairs. They did not greet Shi Shang, so Shi Shang naturally ignored them. When they entered the elevator, there were other people in it. When they saw them, they stopped talking. When they reached the ground floor and came out of the elevator, Shi Shang heard people talking behind her. Hey, I heard that only 2 people are hired this time. Why are there 3 people? Did they get in through the back door? Look at that. She just graduated from university. How could she get in? I hate these people who get in through the back door. They occupy the toilet but don't take a shit. Yeah, we already have one in our editorial department. Now there's another one. The 2 people in front also heard these people's discussion. They looked back at Shi Shang and then looked away in disdain. Shi Shang. So why are you looking down on me? You're acting like you're not university students. Who the hell knows how to write when they're born? Shi Shang did not really want to understand these people. Everyone wanted work experience, but no one wanted to give them a chance. How could work experience come out of nowhere? A bunch of idiots. Buzz. Shi Shang's phone vibrated in his pocket. Shi Shang took it out and saw an unknown number. Shi Shang answered the phone. Guess who I am? A girl's sweet voice came from the other side of the phone. Shi Shang was silent for 3 seconds. Cutie. Out of all the people she knew, the only one who had her new phone number and spoke in such a youthful and sweet manner was Mo Zi. There was nothing to guess at all. Ah. How did you guess it so quickly? Mo was a little disappointed. Did you pass the interview? Okay. Shi Shang continued to walk outside. That's amazing. I heard that the questions this time were especially difficult. Are you still in the company? We will be colleagues in the future. As a colleague, let me treat you to a meal to celebrate. Shi Shang thought for a while and rejected Meng Zi. She felt that this girl was up to no good. It was better for her not to be fooled. How dare you reject me when I'm so cute? Mo Zi roared on the other side of the phone. She just wanted to quietly urge him to update. Why couldn't he satisfy her? Shishang said calmly and shamelessly, I'm cuter than you are. I don't believe you. Wait for me downstairs. I'll check if it's real or not. Mosey hung up the phone in a hurry. However, when she went downstairs, there was no one there. Shishang walked out of the company and was about to take a taxi when a taxi stopped in front of her. The car door opened and a person she hadn't seen for a while got out. Xie Yan was also stunned. Xie Yan was dressed very formally. His flaxen hair swayed slightly in the wind. Xie Yan was quite tall, about 1.8 meters. He was handsome. He was the kind of guy who was very likable. Standing here, he was quite eye-catching. Xiao Yi. He opened his mouth. Before Shishang could respond, someone rushed out from the side and bumped into Shishang's shoulder. Xne, why are you still pestering Xie Yan? Shishang reflexively covered her shoulder and turned to look at the person who spoke. A tall and handsome man stood beside Xie Yan. He was slightly taller than Xie Yan and exuded the aura of a domineering CEO. One was handsome and sunny while the other was handsome and domineering. The two of them stood side by side and looked very compatible. Damn it, they were both domineering CEOs. Couldn't they change the model? Shishang suddenly thought of the perverted Guan Jiu from the previous world. Well, being a domineering CEO was quite good. Which eye of yours saw me, LZ, pestering him? Shishang blurted out in a fit of anger. She had triggered the catfight condition when she wanted to take a taxi. That was enough. Then what are you doing here? Nie Cheng looked at her as if he had seen through her. Xine, it's impossible between you and Xie Yan. Don't you dare pester him. F*ck, where's I's sword? I was the one who dumped him. What's wrong with you being the male lead? Shishang took a deep breath and said with a fake smile, Sorry, I'm not interested in men who are under other people's bodies. Xie Yan's expression changed when he heard this. Xine. Nie Cheng growled. What? Shishang raised his eyebrows. There seemed to be something in his eyes, but it also seemed like there was nothing. The heat of the sun shone through his eyes. He was cold and gloomy. His tone was full of malice. Did I say something wrong? Are you the one who's under me? I can't tell. For some reason, her words angered Nie Cheng. He suddenly raised his hand and swung it towards Shishang's face. Shishang stepped back subconsciously and avoided Nie Cheng's hand. Xiao Yi. Xie Yan suddenly reached out his hand in horror and tried to pull her away. However, Nie Cheng pulled Xie Yan and Xie Yan pushed him. Shishang staggered. The wheels of the car screeched against the ground. Shishang reacted quickly, but his body couldn't keep up. He didn't manage to avoid the car completely and was hit in the calf. The car stopped just in time. A girl got out of the car and looked at Shishang helplessly. Are you okay? Shishang frowned and steadied herself with the car. He said in a low voice, Why don't you try? Damn it, she was hit by a car before she could even act cool. She was so lucky. I'm sorry. Let me take you to the hospital. The girl held Shishang with an apologetic look. Shishang waved his hand. It's just a small injury. Don't worry about it. You can go. If Nie Cheng didn't pull Xie Yan, she wouldn't have stepped back. It had nothing to do with the girl. How can I? The girl looked at Shishang's calf. Shishang's calf was numb and painful, but she forced herself to stand. I'm fine. If you don't leave, I'll extort money from you. The girl was speechless. Chapter 736. Nie Cheng and Xie Yan were still standing there. Shishang held her leg and limped to the side. The girl got into the car and left. You. Xie Yan wanted to go forward but was stopped by Nie Cheng. Nie Cheng snorted and left with Xie Yan. F***k. These two idiots. Where's I's sword? Shi Shang was infuriated. She wanted to chase after them, but her legs were inconvenient, so she could only watch as the two left. I'll wait for you. Shi Shang went to the hospital with difficulty. When she returned to the neighborhood, Sister Hong saw her. She thought something was wrong with her and talked to her for a long time. Shi Shang finally escaped from her clutches. When she got home, she tidied herself up, lay on her bed and started to write. The next day, Shi Shang was late because she couldn't move around. The staff who waited for her scolded her. In the end, they asked her about yesterday's incident and let her go. The three of them were led to the editing department. The company's official working hours were 10 o'clock a.m., but they had to clock in at 9 o'clock a.m. They could do whatever they wanted in the first half hour. The last half hour was used for meetings. At this time, some of the people in the editing department were chatting, some were playing on the computer, and some were eating breakfast. It was a mess. Everyone, quiet down. The person who led them in clapped her hands. This is the new editor today. Let's get to know each other. The noisy editing department immediately quieted down and looked at the door. The other two people came forward and introduced themselves. I'm Anna. I graduated from... I've been working for 4 years. I used to... I hope you can take care of me in the future. I know her. She's the one who made Onshi famous. I didn't expect her to come to our website. I know her too. I heard she's very good. After Anna's introduction, some people whispered. Although it was whispered, everyone in the editing department heard it. Anna seemed to enjoy the feeling of being flattered. She was a little complacent and said a few more words before she let another person introduce her. Although this girl's grades were not as good as Anna's, some people knew her. Finally, it was Shi Shang's turn. Shi Shang took a few steps forward and said calmly, "Xe." There was no introduction of where he had graduated from, nor was there any introduction of his achievements. It was just 2 words. Previously, he only said that he would recruit 2 people. Now, he has recruited 3 people out of nowhere. This person must have gotten in through the back door. I really don't know what the people in the company are thinking. It's boring. Let's do something. The editorial department felt that Shi Shang had entered the company through the back door. However, Shi Shang did not do so. The person who led them arranged positions for the other 2 and looked at Shi Shang. "Xine, you're in charge of the romance section. Is that all right?" Seduction? The male lead is, "Yes, no problem. There are seats over there. You can find a place for yourselves. You can sit anywhere." Anna and another girl chose the seats with better lighting, while Shi Shang could only sit in the corner. At 9:30 a.m., the 3 new editors were naturally introduced to each other. The person in charge of the meeting was the deputy chief editor of the women's channel. Shi Shang did not see Nie Cheng. After the meeting, Shi Shang had just sat down when a girl rushed into the editorial department. She glanced around the editorial department and paused for a moment on Anna and another girl. Then, she directly pounced on Shi Shang. "Xine, Xine." She pounced on Shi Shang so quickly that he almost did not react in time. I see you in person." The girl was very excited. She grabbed her arm and shook it violently. After shaking it, she finally reacted. "Ahem. I'm Song Mengzi." "I know." Shi Shang pulled his arm back. "How did you know?" Song Mengzi stared at her. "I heard your voice." Song Mengzi had called her before. Song Mengzi pursed her lips. "How boring. You guessed it right away." Song Mengzi was very familiar with people. She kept talking to Shi Shang. The other editor of the romance section did not want to come up to Shi Shang to hand over the work. This editor was about to leave, so Shi Shang had to hand over the work to her. It was not until Song Mengzi said that she was tired and went back to her seat that the editor came over to hand over the work to Shi Shang. Romance was a niche genre. It was not as busy as other genres. There was not much to hand over either. Song Mengzi was a very difficult person to deal with. In any case, Shi Shang was convinced by her. In just one day, she had already told him all the gossip in the company. Moreover, Shi Shang also realized that this girl was very popular in the building. Both men and women liked her very much. The only exception was the female editorial department of their company. Everyone looked at Song Mingzi as if they were looking at an enemy. Shi Shang asked curiously, "How did you offend them?" "They're all jealous of my beauty." Song Mingzi snorted and handed over the snacks in her hand. "Ignore them." "Xiao Yi, do you want to eat?" Shi Shang. "I don't want to talk to a foodie." Serves her right to be jealous of the fact that she never loses weight when snacks leave her mouth. Shi Shang had not seen Nie Cheng in the editorial department for a few days. He heard that Nie Cheng was on a business trip. One morning, when she had just checked in to go to work, a few figures hurried by outside. "Chief Editor Nie is back." The girls in the editorial department rushed to the door excitedly. Before they could finish their excitement, a few more people walked away from the elevator. The girls were even more excited. They stood at the door and blocked Shi Shang's line of sight. They could not see the people outside at all. Chief Editor Shu is back too. Are Chief Editor Shu and Chief Editor Nie on the same business trip? No way. I saw that Chief Editor Nie and Chief Editor Shu booked different tickets. They should be back on the same day. Before the girls could finish their excitement, someone came to inform them of a meeting. However, when they arrived at the meeting room, they found that there was someone inside. They were told to use the meeting room next door. Chief Editor Shu would be using this meeting room later, so they had to use the meeting room next door. Nie Cheng saw Shi Shang when he came in. His expression changed immediately. "Cindy, why are you here?" "I'm at work." Shi Shang looked innocent. Was she here for fun? "Who told you to come to work?" She actually came to work in his company. This woman was quite brave. Everyone was confused. Why did Chief Editor Nie have such a big reaction when he saw Cindy? Shi Shang spread his hands. "Of course I applied for the job. I don't have any connections. Get out, all of you." Nie Cheng suddenly shouted. The others were even more confused. However, they did not dare to stay in the current situation. They all left the meeting room. Nie Cheng sneered. "Cindy, you're quite brave. Do you think you can take Xie Yan away from me like this?" "I've always been brave." Shi Shang narrowed his eyes. "You can keep Xie Yan for yourself." "I don't want him. Her man was so good that she could go to heaven. Why would she want Xie Yan? Why did Nie Cheng always feel that she was going to steal him from him?" "Good, very good." Nie Cheng gritted his teeth. "How dare she work in his company? Of course I'm better than you." Chapter 737. The next day, Shi Shang went to the office. Before he could even warm his seat, Nie Cheng's assistant brought him a pile of work. She didn't need to do these things. Shi Shang argued with the assistant on the spot. "Cindy, this is Chief Editor Nie's order. What's the use of making a fuss with me?" The assistant kept mentioning Chief Editor Nie and Chief Editor Nie whenever she spoke. "This is not my job scope." Shi Shang sat in his seat with his arms crossed. He didn't show any signs of anger. He just calmly stated the facts. The assistant said earnestly, "Xine, you are a newcomer. Doing more is also a test of your ability. You can't let Chief Editor Nie down." "Painstaking effort?" Shi Shang nudged Anna and Zhao Qing, who were watching the drama with the editorial department. "They are newcomers too. How can you let me do it alone? If you want to make things difficult, then so be it. Why do you have to make it sound so nice? You already said that you are making things difficult. Who would dare to say that I am making things difficult for you? Is there something wrong with this girl's brain?" Anna glared at Shi Shang. She got in through the back door and was found out by Chief Editor Nie. How could they be implicated? Anna and Zhao Qing have work experience. You are the only one who doesn't. This is for you to gain experience. How can you be so ungrateful? The assistant couldn't help but raise his voice. Shi Shang raised his chin and said arrogantly, I am ungrateful. If you have the ability, fire me. The assistant. What are you doing? Why are you bullying my Xiao Yi? Song Mengzi's voice came in. In the next second, Song Mengzi squeezed through the people blocking the way and walked to Shi Shang. Song Mengzi. Don't mess around. The assistant scolded. Song Mengzi flipped the documents on the table. How am I messing around? Nie Cheng can bully me. How can he bully Xiao Yi? Did Xiao Yi do these things? Believe it or not, I will report it. The assistant's expression changed. He glared at Song Mengzi and left angrily with the documents on the table. Lackey. Song Mengzi scolded from behind. Song Mengzi didn't know if the assistant heard her, but she stopped to argue with Song Mengzi. The next second, she received a call from Nie Cheng, and the assistant left in a hurry. Song Mengzi patted Shi Shang's shoulder and said, Good job, Xiao Yi. But you can't encourage evil. Do you really think that Nie Cheng has the final say here? Don't be afraid. I'll protect you. Nie Cheng won't dare to do anything to you. Shi Shang, if you're not afraid of Nie Cheng, why didn't you fight back when Nie Cheng asked you to do something? You still want to protect her? Protect my ass. Shi Shang went to the restroom to rest. When he came out, he passed by the resting area and saw a few editors sitting there. He could vaguely hear the sound of a conversation. Isn't Song Mengzi relying on Chief Editor Xu? I don't know what Chief Editor Xu sees in her. She doesn't work properly all day long and makes trouble. Our entire editorial department is in a mess. And that Xine. She got in through the back door and didn't even have any self-awareness. How dare she talk back to Chief Editor Nie? People nowadays are not like us in the past. Those who have a backer are the boss. Others work hard to find a job, but what about them? They get it with just one sentence. Why is God so unfair? Who's Xine's backer? I don't know. I've never seen her interact with anyone from the top. The only person Shi Shang was close to in the editorial department was Song Mengzi. But they all knew that Song Mengzi and Shi Shang hadn't known each other for a long time. It was impossible for her to get someone in. Shi Shang had heard all kinds of rumors. What she was more curious about was Chief Editor Xu. During lunch, Shi Shang asked Song Mengzi about her. Xu Ju. Song Mengzi looked surprised. You've been in the company for so long and you still don't know who Xu Ju is? I've been thinking about how to destroy Nie Cheng all day long. Where would I have the time to pay attention to other people? The name Xu Ju was not in the storyline. Song Mengzi's expression was strange for a moment. She pulled a chair to her side and winked at her. Didn't I tell you last time that they were jealous of me? Song Mengzi suddenly paused. I can tell you, but you have to fill in the holes. Shi Shang stood up expressionlessly. I don't want to hear it. He didn't want to fill in the holes. Hey, why are you like this? Song Mengzi pulled Shi Shang. Okay, I'll tell you. Sit down first. Shi Shang was pulled to sit down by Song Mengzi. She cleared her throat. Xu Ju is my senior in university. He's very talented and was a popular figure in university. Countless girls chased after him, but he didn't even look at them. Shi Shang listened for a long time and only heard about Xu Ju's great achievements. He didn't get to the main point at all. That's all? That's all. Song Mengzi looked innocent. Didn't you want to know about this? Shi Shang. Who wanted to hear about a man's romantic history? Then what do you want to know? Song Mengzi leaned closer to Shi Shang and laughed sinisterly. Are you interested in Xu Ju? Let me tell you, Xu Ju is very hard to please. He's misophobic, enigmatic, annoying, and has a strong desire to control. This kind of person is definitely not the best boyfriend. Shi Shang's mouth twitched. You're not his girlfriend? Song Mengzi's expression froze. If I had such a boyfriend, I would choose death. If they weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, Why would the editorial department be jealous of you? Ahem. Actually, Shu Ju is my cousin. Don't tell anyone else about this. My cousin used me to block those crazy bees and butterflies, causing me to be unable to fall in love. Cousin. Song Mengzi nodded with a sincere expression. He really was her cousin. She was only 1 year older than Shu Ju. She didn't listen to anyone since she was young and was only afraid of Shu Ju. Hence, when she went to university, she was sent to Shu Ju's school. Those few years when she was studying were definitely the most miserable period of her life. Everyone else was busy getting high and dating. What about her? She blocked women for Shu Ju all day long and broke many of her suitors. As Song Mengzi spoke, she started to criticize Shu Ju again. Shi Shang felt that he should find some time to meet this chief editor Shu. Perhaps it was Feng Ci? Hidden mission. Promote the world. Mission target. Shu Ju. Help Shu Ju expand his business, promote literature, and spread positive energy. Shi Shang. Just because I said so, you came out without any warning. Side mission. Hypocrite. There are no hints. Host, please explore on your own. Amazing, there were no hints now. Damn, there was no range at all? How was he going to investigate? Host, you can do it. I believe in you. You're already so powerful that you want to conquer the universe. Why would you be afraid of this little difficulty? What's the use of believing in me? Giving me clues is more important. Perhaps the system didn't have enough authority, or perhaps it didn't have any clues. The system didn't say anything and pretended to be dead. Asterisk Shi Shang. Is my Feng Ci coming online? Little fairy. Beg me. Shi Shang. Draw sword. Little fairy. Don't draw sword if you dare. Shi Shang. Draws energy ball. Little fairy, I choose death. Chapter 738. Before Shi Shang could pay his respects to Feng Ci, the website's annual meeting was about to begin. All the editors started to get busy. Being able to attend the annual meeting was a big deal for the authors. After all, only those with good results were qualified to attend the annual meeting. Shi Shang's romance was an unpopular topic. There were only 5 spots. Usually, it was based on results. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 was enough. However, Shi Shang did not list the top 5 authors. Nie Qing naturally got angry. He called Shi Shang to his office and scolded him. If you can't do it, then don't do it. The company pays you, not for you to run amok. Nie Cheng was in the right this time. Naturally, he would not let go of such a good opportunity. Run amok. Shi Shang sneered. How am I running amok? Nie Cheng slapped the name list in front of Shi Shang. If this isn't running amok, then what is it? The number 1 author on the sales chart was not on the list. She plagiarized, Shi Shang said calmly. What right does a plagiarist have to attend the annual meeting? Nie Cheng choked. He took 2 deep breaths. Do you have evidence? Shi Shang opened the color palette he had prepared beforehand on his phone and handed it to Nie Cheng. He said mockingly, didn't the company say that we have 0 tolerance for plagiarism? Someone reported it a few months ago, but the company didn't deal with it. Is this the so-called 0 tolerance? The company turned a blind eye to plagiarism because it sold well. Because of the company's tolerance, more and more people plagiarized other people's works. Even in the Xuanhuan world, those people who snatched treasures would not be so shameless as to put their own names on the treasures. XINE, don't act on your own initiative. The company has its own considerations. Change the name list back and get out. Shi Shang's lips tugged into a smile. Is that so? I wonder if the higher-ups know about this. Nie Cheng watched Shi Shang leave with an ugly expression. She actually dared to threaten him. Shi Shang did not change the name list. After the name list was released, the number 1 author on the sales chart immediately came to ask about it. Shi Shang accused her of plagiarism without any hesitation. The author was speechless and stopped updating the next day. Shi Shang's willful behavior made the female editors in the editorial department raise their eyebrows. It was not that they had never plagiarized authors before, but their sales were good. According to their company's rules, the author's sales were linked to the editor's salary, so they turned a blind eye to it. Everyone gained both fame and fortune. However, not long after this girl took office, she had already chased away one of the great gods under her. For such willful behavior, Nie Qing only deducted half of her salary. This was simply illogical. Shi Shang bumped into Xie Yan on a rainy evening. Shi Shang got out of a taxi and ran into the neighborhood. Before he entered the neighborhood, he was stopped by someone. Xie Yan's body was drenched, and his hair stuck to his face. He looked like a mess. Little E. Xie Yan stopped Shi Shang. In the rain, Shi Shang could not see his expression clearly. Shi Shang bypassed him and ran towards the building. Xie Yan was still waiting for her in such a heavy rain. Did he want her to sympathize with him? What a joke. As soon as Shi Shang ran, Xie Yan chased after her and grabbed her arm. Shi Shang dodged out of reflex. Rainwater flowed down her cheeks. She wiped her face and said, "Xie Yan, what do you want?" It was not like he was acting. Why did he have to look for her in such a heavy rain? Idiot. Little E, I want to talk to you. Xie Yan hurriedly said, I have been waiting for you here for many days, but you never came. I don't have any other intentions. I just want to treat you to a meal and apologize for what happened before. Bullshit. I have nothing to talk to you about. Shi Shang cursed irritably. Damn idiot. Xie Yan saw Shi Shang turn around and grab Shi Shang. Shi Shang kicked Xie Yan in the crotch. Xie Yan clutched his crotch in pain, his face twisted in agony. Xie Yan did not think that Shi Shang would treat him like this. She liked him so much. How could she treat him so cruelly? Xie Yan, my ability is limited. Don't think that I don't dare to beat you. Shi Shang paused, wiped the rainwater off her face and kicked Xie Yan again. Idiot. Shi Shang dashed into the building, leaving Xie Yan alone in the rain, covering his private part with his hands. After being in the rain for so long, Shi Shang caught a cold and kept sneezing. How did you catch a cold? Song Mengzi handed Shi Shang some hot water and cold medicine. I just bought it for you. Am I okay? Thank you. Shi Shang's nasal voice was a little heavy. You're welcome. Song Mengzi put the rest of the cold medicine on Shi Shang's table and said worriedly, Take it on time. If you really can't take it, you can ask for leave. Shi Shang smiled. She did not care about this little cold at all. However, Shi Shang did not expect her body to be so weak after catching a cold. She went to the hospital to get an 4 drip, but it did not work. She kept sneezing and coughing. Song Mengzi asked her to ask for leave, but that idiot Nie Cheng refused. He said that the editing department was busy and she was the only editor in fantasy. Who would take over her job if she asked for leave? Nie Cheng was deliberately making things difficult for Shi Shang. Everyone in the editing department could see that. Song Mengzi ran away in a hurry after Nie Cheng refused. When she came back, she was already holding the approved leave request. Let's go home. Song Mengzi supported Shi Shang and stood up. Shi Shang felt that her illness seemed to have worsened. Maybe it was because of the wind on the way here. She felt dizzy when she stood up. Damn it. She really did not want to have such a weak body. Song Mengzi walked her downstairs. It had been raining heavily for the past few days, so it was not easy to get a taxi. Song Mengzi scratched her head and took out her phone to make a call. Song Mengzi said a few words and hung up. She helped Shi Shang out of the company. They waited at the entrance for a while. In the rain, a car gradually approached them. A man got out of the car and ran over in the rain. Miss Song. Song Mengzi stared at him. Why are you here? Where is my cousin? Chief Editor Shu is busy and can't leave. He asked me to drive you. He didn't even come to save the damsel in distress. Serves him right to be single, Song Mingzi muttered. The man helped Shi Shang into the car. Shi Shang was currently in a daze. Her body wasn't in good condition, so she couldn't keep her consciousness awake. Shi Shang didn't think that being tormented by a cold was entirely because of the cold. She was certain that luck was playing a role in this. Shi Shang was sent to the hospital. The results of the examination were even more shocking. Shi Shang had been infected with a type of HU virus recently. Shi Shang might not have been infected when she caught a cold. However, after catching a cold, her immune system was weakened and it was easy for her to get infected. The hospital only received the results a few days ago. Trash body. No matter how good you are, it is useless. Ha ha ha. Chapter 739. Being hospitalized, Shi Shang felt the world's evil intentions. It was too painful. He hated his body. When Shi Shang recovered and returned to the editing department, the preparations for the annual meeting were almost done. The annual meeting was held at a scenic spot. After the meeting, the author could travel. For some reason, Nie Cheng didn't cause any trouble for Shi Shang. He rarely saw him in the company. As for Xu Ju, he was like a missing person. They couldn't find him at all. In Song Mingzi's words, busy people were not on the same level as small fries like them. Shi Shang didn't see Xu Ju until they left. He was so tired. Xiao Yi, over here. People were coming and going at the airport. Song Mingzi, who was wearing a red dress, was waving at Shi Shang. Beside her were other members of the editing department. Not many departments were allowed to take part in this kind of trip, but everyone in the editing department was there. Shi Shang only brought a backpack. Compared to the other people's bags and suitcases, she looked like she was here to see them off. Are you going to a beauty contest dressed like this? Shi Shang poked Song Mingzi's red dress. Hey! My author will recognize me at a glance. The author went directly to the scenic spot and met them there. I don't know you. Shi Shang's mouth twitched. He waved his hand and moved a few steps to the side. How could he know such a retarded person? Xiao Yi, don't be like this. Song Mingzi held Shi Shang's hand. Song Mingzi pulled Shi Shang and chatted. Time passed quickly. It was time to board the plane. It's time to board the plane. Why isn't Chief Editor Nie here yet? Should we call and ask? Just as everyone was about to make a call, Nie Cheng brought someone into the airport. Damn, the male lead is the one on top, and you're the one on the bottom. Who is this? Is he from our company? Why haven't I seen him before? He came with Chief Editor Nie. Nie Cheng walked to the front of the crowd and pointed at Xie Yan, who was keeping a distance from him. The author is Yan Yeji. Everyone was shocked. He was the author. How did he know Chief Editor Nie? Hello. Xie Yan greeted them with a smile. Ah, nice to meet you. I really like your stories. Since Chief Editor Nie had brought her here, everyone gave her a few compliments. The editor knew all the authors who were slightly famous on his own website. Song Mingzi and Shi Shang stood at the back and poked Shi Shang excitedly. Is he Yan Yeji? Yes. Song Mingzi immediately abandoned Shi Shang and said, I'm going to get his autograph. I love his novels. Shi Shang. Song Mingzi really went to ask Xie Yan for an autograph, but because they were about to board the plane, Song Mingzi only said one sentence to Xie Yan. Xie Yan didn't see Shi Shang until he boarded the plane. He was surprised and confused. Nie Cheng stood in front of Xie Yan and pushed him to the first-class cabin. I actually saw Yan Yeji. He even gave me an autograph. Song Mingzi looked like a fangirl. Shi Sheng decided to stay away from this idiot. After all, she liked her love rival. However, Song Mingzi didn't want to let Shi Sheng off. Xiao Yi, his mythical beast is really good. There's also the beloved one. I love these two novels. It's a pity that the latter part of the novel is not as good as the former part. Of course, the latter part of the novel wasn't good. That's not right. Xiao Yi, I don't remember him on your list. Song Mingzi's IQ came back after she was excited. Yes. Then he. Xiao Yi covered her mouth and looked at Shi Shang in disbelief. Could it be what she was thinking? It couldn't be, right? Shi Shang smiled. Nie Cheng brought him here. Oh my God! Song Mengzi exclaimed. She realized that her voice was too loud and quickly suppressed it. He and Nie Cheng? That kind of relationship? Song Mengzi was furious. She didn't like Xie Yan at all. Who asked him to have an affair with Nie Cheng? An enemy's lover was an enemy. It took a long time to get off the plane and arrive at the scenic area. Everyone still had work to do the next day. They were going to rest after they were assigned their rooms. However, something went wrong when they were assigned their rooms. Two girls in the editorial department who didn't get along were assigned to the same room. Neither of them wanted to live with the other, and the others didn't want to change rooms. Both parties were in a deadlock. Shi Shang leaned on the marble counter and looked at the people arguing. It was all a trap. In the end, Xie Yan would definitely stay with Nie Cheng. Reality proved that Shi Shang's trap was right again. The authors who came early were all assigned a single room. Xie Yan naturally got one too. He gave his room to the girl, and Nie Cheng naturally let Xie Yan stay with him. After the rooms were assigned, everyone went upstairs and entered their own rooms. Shi Shang was supposed to stay with another girl, but Song Mingzi forced him to change rooms with her. Xiao Yi, what do you think Nie Cheng and Xie Yan are doing? Song Mingzi asked nosily. Shi Shang was lying on the bed and playing with his phone. He didn't even look up. What else can they be doing? Of course they're doing it. Xiao Yi, I didn't expect you to be so dirty. Shi Shang rolled his eyes. Be reasonable, girl. You're the one who asked me what they're doing. Song Mingzi was speechless. You don't have to be so direct. Other than Song Mingzi, who was guessing about Nie Cheng and Xie Yan, the others in the editorial department were also guessing. After all, there was a rumor that Nie Cheng actually liked men. The night went by uneventfully. The next morning, the editorial department rushed to the venue to welcome the authors who were about to arrive. Song Mingzi was right. Her flamboyant red dress was easily recognized by the author she was responsible for. More and more people arrived. The authors that Shi Shang had submitted also arrived. When they saw Shi Shang, they were surprised. They were surprised that the editor was so young. There was only one male author in the LGBTQ section. Therefore, when he was surrounded by a few girls, he seemed a little uneasy. They had a day to wait for the authors. The event would only start at 10 o'clock the next day. The authors would arrange the accommodation and other issues. Shi Shang only had 5 people. He quickly arranged the accommodation and prepared to take the elevator back to his room. Ding! Nie Cheng, that's enough. You asked me to come, so I'm here. There are so many people here. Can't you behave yourself? As the elevator door opened, the sound poured out from the gap. Shi Shang was speechless. Why did she always meet the main character? In the elevator, Xie Yan heard the door open. He pushed Nie Cheng away and ran out with his head down. He didn't even look at who was standing outside the door. Nie Cheng walked out of the elevator unhurriedly. He glanced at Shi Shang meaningfully and chased after Xie Yan. Shi Shang was speechless as he watched Nie Cheng leave. When he was about to enter the elevator, he realized that it was already going up. He felt depressed and waited for the next one. A few minutes later, the elevator came down. Shi Shang walked into the elevator. The door closed and then opened again. A man in black casual clothes was standing outside. He was wearing earphones. He had one hand in his pocket and his head was slightly lowered. It seemed that he was about to enter the elevator. However, the next second, his expression changed slightly. He turned around and left quickly. Shi Shang was speechless. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.